Cole, there's something that's been in short supply in this country for a very, very long time, and it feels like we may just be getting a teeny tiny little bit of it back. Do you have a guess what that might be?
There could be a long list here, right? What's
really
something
hard
this country hasn't had in a long time? But I'm not going to guess because I looked at the rundown.
It's very easy.
Yes.
The answer is common sense.
We need more of that.
Common sense. We achieved a victory for common sense when it comes to protecting women in sports. Now, this is not the newest story, but it is a story that you and I have not yet covered here on Wire to Wire on the Fan Upstate. By the way, you Tolos can come join us tomorrow. We're going to be in Liberty at 429 East Main Street at the Ingles Market inside the corner store. We'd love to see you there. The whole crew is going to be there. Myself, Cole Bryson, Melissa, our promotions team is going to be there. You guys are going to want to come by and win some free Fan Upstate t-shirts, hats. We have a $25 gift card that we're giving away as well. But the story here goes that Leah Thomas has been rejected from her U.S. Olympic team bid. Why? Because she's a boy. And boys can't compete as girls in the Olympics.
Rejected us.
Yeah.
Just a big fat.
It seems very, very common sense. And who would have thought? Who would have thought this level of common sense would come from the IOC? Well, it doesn't technically come from the IOC. It comes from a division of competition governance, specifically swimming. So, well, the IOC really didn't have a whole lot to do with it at all. However, it does affect who can compete in the Olympics. Last month, Leah Thomas, the controversial transgender swimmer, had her hopes of competing at the Olympics dashed after losing a legal battle that would allow her to compete as a woman in Paris. 3 judges on the Court of Arbitration for Sports dismissed Thomas's request for arbitration with the World Aquatics governing body, never heard of them before, stating, quote, the panel concludes that she lacks standing to challenge the policy and the operational requirements in the framework of the present proceeding. Leah Thomas said that competing in the Olympics was a lifetime goal. But unfortunately, rules were established specifically because of what Leah Thomas did in 2022 when, still a student at the University of Pennsylvania, she went out and won the NCAA championship. They came around and said, whoop, no, that's going to be a problem. You know that meme, the GIF of which actor is it? He's like, pointing out something. It was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Leonardo DiCaprio. That meme. You know the one I'm talking about.
I haven't seen it. Your description's not good. I need a little more.
Okay.
Say it. I need a little more.
Yeah. But they said, oh, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. Leah Thomas is a boy who's kicking women's asses in the national championships. That's coming our way towards the Olympics because why wouldn't it, right? It's the next level up in competition. I mean, this is America, Jack, and we don't have a national league for swimming the way we have for basketball and football and hockey and baseball. We don't have that. So competing in the Olympics is the next step after being an elite college swimmer. You want to go on to the Olympics. And they saw what Leah Thomas did in college, going from essentially a middle-of-the-pack male swimmer to being the best female swimmer.
Is there a timeline of when she switched her gender? Because I think there's some sort of rule that really looks at if a male has been through puberty, right? It doesn't allow.
So that is exactly the rule.
Okay. So
World Aquatics banned trans women who have been through male puberty from competing in women's races. What they did do, Cole, and this is something we have all been screaming from the tops of the mountains, they created a special division.
Yes.
For people who are in this category, for people who, like Leah Thomas, would be eligible to go compete in what's called the open category, which is something we've all said, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you were born a male, you went through all of the puberty and the hormones that you receive by going through male puberty. You can't undo that. Like, you can tamp it down a little bit. You can, for lack of a better word, retard it a little bit, but you can't completely eliminate. I mean, like, if you're 6'5", and I'm not talking specifically about Leah Thomas because I don't know how tall she is. If you're 6'5", 200 pounds, it may drop you from 6'5", 200 to like 170 because you don't have testosterone in your system. You're not building muscle the same way, but you're still going to be 6'5". There's no undoing that part of it.
I guess my question, well, I have a few questions, but my first question would be, are we to the point now where there's enough competitors in the open category for this to be an actual thing? You know what I mean?
It would appear.
Evidently so, right?
Either
that's
that
what we
or,
are in this world.
Either that or, they saw what was going to happen. They saw the writing on the wall, and they said, okay, well, we don't have a ton of people beating down the door to do this. We don't have a ton of trans men, trans women. I don't really know what the correct terminology here is. We don't have a lot of trans women who are trying to get into the Olympics, but we're going to go ahead and create one in advance because we know eventually there will be a large enough subsection of athletes who want to compete, and instead of allowing them into women's competition for 5, 10, 15 years until we have a subsection of trans athletes, let's go ahead and big enough to actually have a division. Let's go ahead and create the division first and then allow them to populate the division.
You know, though, man, like I want to know now what these athletes' thought process is, these transgenders who want to compete, right? And I'm sure Leah Thomas is very disappointed that she was rejected from the U.S. team bid. I want to know their thought process of the potential of them competing against, I don't know, who they actually are, the men, right? I hear you.
Well, they wouldn't be competing against that because Leah Thomas, I think his name was Ian before he transitioned, was a middle of the road NCAA swimmer. Was in no way, shape, or form going to come close to qualifying for nationals or even especially the Olympics.
So what you're saying is he had to become a woman to compete or even have a chance. I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I'm saying the way it sounds to me is he had no business being in the Olympics as a competitive swimmer when he was a man.
Correct.
Now that he's a woman, again, not putting words in anyone's mouth. Yeah, exactly. He is kicking those butterflies and he's rocking and rolling whatever the swim moves you do. I just think it's ridiculous, man. Like, you know, am I okay with them having their own league? Sure. I'm glad that, to your point, common sense won in this case. But at the same time, my first thought is, hey, Leah or Ian or whatever your name is, you wouldn't even be competing. So don't be upset if you aren't able to compete now. You wouldn't even be here in the first place if you didn't change your natural gender.
And I want to dispel the myth. And I'm not saying, this is my own common sense, right? This is not based on conversations. This is not based on research. This is my own common sense here. I don't believe that there are hundreds of middle-of-the-road, crappy male athletes who say, you know what, I'm tired of not winning. I'm going to go through all of this hormone replacement therapy and all the things that I have to do, which is years of work, right?
Sure.
Just so that I can go win competitions. I genuinely don't believe that is happening. Like there might be some insane person doing it, you know, for the clicks.
Yeah.
You know, because how many times do you see like horrible pranks go wrong on the street on social media videos, people doing really stupid things for the clicks. But I genuinely don't believe that there are very many men who say, well, I just can't win as a man, so I'm going to go transition into a woman so that I can win. I don't believe that happens. But, okay, so back to the story. Leah Thomas argued that the World Aquatics overturning the rules because they are invalid, that they should overturn the rules because they are invalid, unlawful, and discriminatory. And again, the rules were established shortly after Leah, who was a student at Pennsylvania, became the first trans woman to win an NCAA swimming championship. Nobody here, Cole, wants to lock anyone in a room and say you can't go get in the pool, that you can't go compete. Divisions are being created specifically for this new group of people, this new group of athletes who want to go compete at the highest level, who don't want to stop being competitors.
Yeah.
Because that was part of Leah Thomas's argument, was being an athlete is part of my identity. There are thousands of other athletes who, this is who we are. This is what we do. We are athletes, right? Nobody's telling you you can't go get in the swimming pool and compete. They're telling you that you cannot use your biologically gifted advantages of being a biological male and having gone through male puberty to go out and kick biological women's asses. It's just not the same thing. But here's my suggestion, Cole, and I think this is a smart one. Here's my suggestion, because like we talked about it with the Chicago races in NASCAR. We talked about it with Jake Paul fighting every over-the-hill fighter he can possibly find just to go prove that he's a good fighter. Why don't we just make a spectacle out of this, okay? Why don't we have this division of trans athletes who want to compete with each other, and then have Michael Phelps come out of retirement and absolutely demolish the entire open category to prove a point. And the point is that an old-ass Michael Phelps who probably hasn't done a ton of Olympic level training in a long time, can go out there and whoop everyone's asses in a quote unquote open division.
Well, listen,
Right.
I don't have an issue with that. Here's what I'd say to that. To your point, how about this to prove a point? Put it on the table. If that's what they want to do, have their own open category, right? Put it on the table, whether it's the Olympics or collegiate swimming or whatever sport the transgenders want to compete in. Put it out there for the people who are going to watch, the viewers, as well as the ones who spend the money, the advertisers, right? And let's put it out there on the table and let's say, okay, you've got the options. Are you going to, number one, watch the open category, if that's what we're going to call it now? Number two, advertisers, big money spenders. Are you going to spend money to put these open categories on television, on streaming services? That's, in my opinion, that'd be the way to prove a point.
Yeah,
you know,
ratings have never been what the Olympic uses to determine what events
I know, just
should
saying
be
in
events.
general.
But you do have a very good point there. And deciding and studying whether or not there's a market for this. There are all kinds of Olympic sports and events that don't get televised because, well, like almost nobody cares, except for the athletes and the very small number of people who support that sport. Most people don't care. So the only thing that I fear, Cole, is that these big, who is it, NBC that airs the Olympics?
I believe
That
so.
NBC, guessing that they are a company who would feel pressured by the trans community, the woke community, and say, well, we have to air this. We have to put this on in prime time because if we don't, we're not being fair. We're not giving this group of trans athletes a chance. So then what are they going to do? They're going to take a sport that people do want to watch in prime time and take it off the air. These are athletes who worked their asses off and
Sure.
earned where they are. And they're going to say, well, guess what? We can't show the 100-meter dash sprint.
Yeah.
The sport that, like, when people tune in to watch the Olympics, that's what they want to watch, the Summer Olympics. They want to watch these handful, 3 or 4 track and field events. We can't show that. You know why? Because we got to do lip service to the trans community. We got to give them prime time real estate. It's not good enough just to put it on the air at like 2 a.m. We gotta give them prime time, or else they're gonna come after us.
No, that's pitiful.
And that's these
In
networks
my
are
opinion,
scared.
Cole's opinion.
Yeah, these networks are scared. Where's Ryan Lochte? That guy was a complete moron. I don't know if you remember him, Cole.
I do.
He was a moron who disgraced himself and his country in Rio, but he is a 12-time Olympic medalist. Like, make him the Jake Paul of swimming, right? Put him out there and have him whoop all these dudes' asses in the open category to prove once and for all that there is a biological advantage in athletics of being a male, even if you're 36, even if you're over the hill. Go kick their asses and set the example.
You know, there's a few takes I want to get to, but I'll tell you what really does it for me is the statement here by the attorney of Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas. Well, she might be Lisa tomorrow.
Well,
Who knows,
no,
right?
I don't believe in being disrespectful and getting people's names wrong on purpose.
Oh, I never got it wrong on purpose. I said Lisa because it was an accident.
That's fair.
Why would I say Lisa on purpose?
Apologies.
All right, here's what I have a problem with Leah Thomas's attorney. Blanket bans preventing trans women from competing are discriminatory and deprive us of valuable athletic opportunities that are central to our identities. What identity?
Athlete, being an athlete. That's the identity. Is
But
being
let's
an
not use the word identity here when you're talking about your athlete that changed their identity, but you want to use the term, these opportunities are central to our identities. Maybe choose a different word. That's all.
It feels like a lot of these sports, Cole, are to prove this point, are going to have to essentially hold one spot back in a heat race somewhere as a token spot.
Yeah. It's weird, man. Tony chimes in and says, ain't it crazy that women who want to be men don't compete in men's sports, but men who want to be women love competing against women?
Well, we don't know that, Tony. We don't know that women who transition into men don't try. All we know is that they don't make the Olympics. They don't make the big events because, well, obviously they have a tremendous physical disadvantage.
A tremendous disadvantage. Texter says, my diet is like my dating habits, just trying to avoid trans fats. God, Texas. Hey, guys, another texter. This comes from the 275. Hey, guys, just in, LeBron James will be known as Lisa James and compete in the WNBA next year. Texters, you guys are off the hinges.
Do you realize that LeBron James could go out there like 60 in the WNBA and still drop like 50 points a night?
Well, he's almost 60 now.
Right, exactly.
20 years from now.
You know, I mean, think about like you've seen videos of athletes, former NBA greats, who still get out on the court, still chop it up, still play, pickup games, and they're still insanely athletic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine, and these guys are in their 50s and 60s. Just imagine LeBron James at like 65 years old going out there competing against 21-year-old girls in the WNBA and just dropping 50 a night. He'd still be able to dunk. We know this. His knees might not be able to handle it for a while, but
might not be able to get back up.
Right.
It's fascinating though. Sadly, this is where we are, and it will continue. It will continue to be talked about, and I believe they're, even though this one got shut down, and even though we talk about common sense winning here,
again.
Yeah, they'll. And here's the bottom line is, we've just seen the beginning of this,
Yeah.
and that's what's sad.
This is not an end-all, be-all, ruling or decision. This is just one decision among many, many that need to be made to protect girls' sports.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, coming up next, Arch Manning. We made a big deal of it. Arch Manning opted out several months ago. He said, I'm too cool to be in the video game, right? I have no desire to be in EA Sports College Football 2025. Well, the tide has turned. Arch Manning has released an announcement video. We'll have that audio for you next. So Arch Manning, he was too cool for school at first, and then all of a sudden, Arch says, "Guess what? Maybe I should take this money. Maybe I should let them cash that check." John Dog, I agree with you on the text line. John Dog says Archie changed his mind because he got paid. I don't think it's a lot, though. Diesel and I have talked about that several times. Everybody got paid. But
I think it was like $600.
Yeah, maybe even less. It wasn't much.
Something, yeah.
But I think that, whether their whole plan the whole time was to push it off and create the drama, I think they still made the mistake of not opting in. However, here is Arch Manning's announcement video earlier today of not just Arch, but you can guess who.
All right, here we go. Let's go gun far, Simon right nasty, Z Riz, F Whirly Bird, Alert Scarecrow. All right, use a little cadence here. All right, you ready?
Are you sure about this?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the best way to focus on football, right? So get your eyes on the safety, be vocal out there.
Yes, Coach. I mean, Uncle E.
It's better.
Green 18. Green 18. Omaha. Hut.
All right, there he is. There he is. Now! Boom! Touchdown! Now that's why you're in the game.
EA Sports. I'm in the game.
How lame is that? I mean, is that not the most lame announcement video you've ever heard?
That sounds like some white bread, Wonder Bread, goofy. I expect nothing less from the Mannings.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Eli with a headset on, holding a play sheet.
You went with the third coolest Manning to be in your video?
And then the end, now I'm in, and that's why you're in the game.
Touchdown! Now that's why you're in the game.
EA Sports. I'm in the game.
Come on. Did EA Sports, did they
release, I haven't seen the video here. Did they release in-game, like, playable footage of him being in the game?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So are we to believe that either some of these guys have an advanced copy of the game, or somebody over at EA, plays the game as Arch Manning, records the footage and sends it over to him and says, "Hey, Arch, you can use this in your video"?
Or are we to believe that this wasn't the setup the entire time, that they said, "Hey, let's use the Mannings. Let's create a little drama, right? Let's create a little drama and have them opt out, not enter the video game, not take the money at first, but then right before it releases, we're going to team up, make this cheesy little video with Uncle Eli." I'm surprised Peyton went in it. I guess he was filming, commercials out in Denver or whatever. But, I think that this is the Mannings, to your point. This is what they do, and we're just going to keep letting them act white and cheesy and put these stupid videos out. I mean, how dumb. Now, he should be
Weird
in the
Al
game.
Yankovic with his song White and Nerdy for you.
Yeah, really. So the question to you, Tolos, 71307, start your text with the word fan. We're also live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. What would cause you to go ahead and bite the bullet? Or have you already bit the bullet in terms of buying the game? And I guess the second part of that question is, when do I need to bite the bullet? Because Diesel and I are itching to put it on the TV right behind Diesel. If you're watching on the stream, you see the big TV on the wall. We're itching to put it on there because it would make great show content.
Yeah,
Diesel and I against each other.
Why are we even doing a radio show? Have you seen how big Twitch streaming is?
Sure. How
these nerds will just sit and watch other people play video games?
You know what's crazy? We could, I don't know how long a game would last, you and I, in EA Sports 2025, but we could very easily play the game, and while we're on the air, just comment, right? I mean, tell me that wouldn't be fantastic radio. Just us commenting on what's happening, put it on the live stream, to your point. John Dog on the text line says they are getting more than 600 guaranteed. Joey.
That's not true, John Dog. When I told you 600, that's not a number I just made up out of thin air. This was posted on SB Nation. It says, according to a report from The Athletic, each athlete will receive $600 in a copy of the game for allowing themselves to be featured. The number is $600.
Just so you're clear.
Yeah.
So step off, Diesel.
Yeah, John Dog. I didn't just make that up.
Joey says he already bought the MVP bundle of Madden 25 college football for the Xbox series. Joey, if you don't mind, if you don't want to tell us, keep it personal, that's fine. But how much is the MVP bundle? And I don't even know what that is, a bundle of
both games.
Oh, okay. He did say Madden 25. So you get Madden and Madden 25 and EA Sports 25.
I wonder, Cole, if at any point, knowing that real-time data will be going into these games, at any point could teams and players start using the game as a way to scout the other team?
100%. 100%.
I mean,
it happens in the NFL.
Yeah. If these numbers are being put in accurately, if using the computer simulation side, not playable, like somebody playing that team. But couldn't they analyze the percentage of time this happens or that happens or what they do in these certain reads and looks and use that as show prep? And in that sense, Kyler Murray will have been playing 4D chess this whole time, right?
Yeah, we'll be the dumb ones.
Video games are his game day prep.
That's what he was doing the whole time.
Right.
But
he was just ahead of the curve.
There was a, I believe it was Tyreek Hill, man. There was an NFL player not long ago who came out and talked about this, about using Madden to scout tendencies. Obviously, the ratings, to your point, they're based on real life. But there is, if you polled every coach in the NFL, I'm sure that half of them would say, no, you can't use Madden to scout. But then again, in the new age, like, are you to believe that Mike McDaniel and other young coaches, Sean McVay, wouldn't use it? I think they absolutely would.
John Dog says, okay, and money has never been under the table either. John Dog, I can't tell you that some player is getting extra money I'm just telling you what is officially known, that each player who opts into the game gets $600 and a copy of the game.
So the bundle that we were talking about is $150. Joey chimed in and said it's public knowledge. I guess it's already available to purchase. I didn't know the game was already out.
Honestly, I thought it would be more.
I thought
it would be more.
Yeah, I mean, that's not think about it. $150 for both games. I don't guess that's terrible.
How much? Like, I know they're available now because there was a huge push. Immediately, everybody wanted one, and it was during the chip shortage, and you couldn't get a PS5. But how much does a PS5 cost?
And that's what we were talking about a few months ago, because remember, I don't have one. I don't even own a console. So if I get the game, I have to buy the console.
I'm seeing them for about $500. So to get this game, you'd be essentially $575 in just to play this game. Like, what is a PS5? Those of you who are gamers, like, what does a PS5 do for you nowadays outside of gaming? Like, I mean, I think the last console I bought was a PS3. It was my Blu-ray player for the longest time, and it was how I turned my dumb TV into a smart TV. Like, I could use the PlayStation remote to access, Netflix and things like that on my PS3, but I don't use it for that anymore because I've got a Roku TV and all that stuff's built in.
Yeah.
So that functionality, that side of a PlayStation is now lost in me. I don't use it for that anymore. So what is a PS5 good for outside of just gaming now?
Oh, I don't think there's any purpose of it outside of gaming. I really don't.
Oh.
I mean, I know what you're talking about. You would use the PS5 as a DVD player and stuff like that, but no, I don't know that there's, again,
you can't even buy DVDs anymore.
No,
I saw the news the other day that Best Buy has completely removed physical media like movies from their shelves. They don't sell it at all anymore.
Madcraft says, but I don't think the numbers are too accurate. They had Cade at a 95, didn't they? Well, listen, if Cade was a 95.
Remember, Madcraft, those are initial ratings, and they are going to adjust those as the season goes along. So if Cade sucks,
but
for the first 5 weeks of the game, that rating ain't going to stay at 95.
I hear you, but what did we see last year that made us think, Cade's a 95? I mean, is his last name Vic? I don't think so.
I believe there's, especially because they put Colorado inside the top 15 or something, and then they left Tennessee and Missouri out of the top 25, which is just absurd. I don't really know a whole lot about what Tennessee's got coming back this year, but I know Missouri is absolutely stacked. Number 6 in the country in the preseason polls, not in EA's top 25. make it make sense. But Colorado is there because they want people to tune in. They want people to log in and play the game as Colorado.
So Missouri's 6 in real life, but not top 25 in
Correct.
EA. Wow. That's
Correct.
Hayden on the stream says Xbox is better. I'm going to turn the Gamecocks into a dynasty with Lenora South.
Hey,
all the things you can do on Xbox.
Hayden, what does a Gamecock fan do when they win a national championship? They turn off the PlayStation and go to bed.
Only the things you can do.
Hayden.
Let's see. Texter says it's not out yet. Releases July 25th, I believe. Get an Xbox Series A, about $400, says a texter.
Mm-hmm.
Joey says Xbox is his media system. So,
okay,
what does that mean?
So he uses it as his it's the device he uses to run
TV,
Netflix and TV and possibly YouTube TV and all that stuff.
So it replaces like a Roku stick, I guess, right?
Exactly.
I didn't know. See, that tells you how much I have in a gaming system.
The TV that I had to use that on was not a smart TV. It was a flat screen, but it was not a smart TV.
Correct.
So that's what I had to use it for.
I don't even think they make TVs that aren't smart TVs anymore, do they? Like, can you buy a TV that's not a smart TV?
You probably can, but it's going to be real cheap and not very good.
I don't think you can, man. I don't think you can.
Bob says Cole Bryson seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, that Bob. Is that really Bob? I doubt.
Bob.
That's probably a troll. Probably one of our trolls.
He's not trolling. He's saying nice things about you.
I know, but you never know.
Have you been hurt that many times?
Nobody really thinks I'm a cool guy, so everybody knows that that's not true, right?
Wow, that is the most self-hating thing I've ever heard, Cole.
All right, so
that's so cruel to yourself.
If I bite the bullet, I'm going to be looking at 400 plus 150 if I want to be able to play both EA 25 and Madden 25. So you're looking at, well, again, does it come with remotes, headsets, and all that stuff? 650 minimum. I think we talked about this a few months ago. I'm looking at 650 to 750 minimum.
Not me.
That's what I'm saying. Do I love it that much?
I'm not doing it, guys. I'm not doing it. And this hurts me. You don't realize how much this hurts me. Like maybe it's a part of growing up, getting older, not having played video games, not being a gamer for quite a while. Like, well, there's nothing interests me about dropping, $500 to $600 on a console and a video game.
If you're a gamer, what, $75 on the game's 100% worth it. You already have the console. But for people, here's where the conversation turns interesting. For people like me who don't game, who would have to buy the console, is it worth the money? Because I'm not going to play other games most likely. I don't play Call of Duty or...
You'd be dropping $600 potentially for one game.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. It better be worth it, right? Better be worth it. And you know what? It may be.
Because with the minimal amount that you say you're going to play and the minimal amount that I know that I play, like by the time I get my second or possibly third game max, they're already moving on to the PS6. It's obsolete at that point.
If you got it, how many times a week? You can either say times a week or hours per week. How much do you think you would play EA 25?
Ooh. After the show, 0. Before the show, too much, and we wouldn't be able to show prep at all because I would be playing the game all the way up until like 1 o'clock when it's time to leave the house and come here.
See, I think I would have to start prepping. I think my struggle would be at night. I think at nights when I would be.
I've got friends who make a lot of money and they stay up till like 3, 4 in the morning playing video games with their buddies.
Yeah. Again, no judgment here. If that's your deal, go for it, man. I don't play anymore. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as you're not. I mean, now again, excessive 8 hours a day might be a little much, right? I mean, that might be a little much. Texter says, then you pay for subscriptions and extra bonuses, well over $1,500. Subscription? What kind of subscription do you have to have to play a game?
You got to have an online subscription to be able to play online. Like that's not free anymore. Used to be free to log into PlayStation Network or Xbox Live and play.
Tells you how
now
much
they're going to charge you a monthly subscription because, of course, everything's got to have a monthly subscription.
So just for me to play you is what you're saying? Like if we wanted to play against each other, we'd have to pay a subscription. a monthly subscription. Wow, we sound like video game experts.
I'll just come over to your
right?
house, Cole. We'll play split screen. How about that?
That's fine. Texter says the PS4 isn't even obsolete yet. MLB The Show 24 was released for both PS4 and PS5.
Here's what I want to know, texters. Can you help me out with this? Because I may have a source for a PS4. Are they releasing College Football 25 on PS4, and can you play it across both platforms? Because if that's the point, then why did they even come out with a PS5? Like, could I play this game for PS4? I mean, I know my graphics probably wouldn't be quite as good.
Yeah. I can't find anything
that sucks.
on the initial online search.
That sucks because my brother-in-law's got one. He's got a PS4 sitting on his table with magazines stacked on top of it.
But you don't think they would make it just made.
Well, why would they make it for PS4 if they want to incentivize people to buy the PS5?
Buy the PS5.
Yeah,
okay. I got you.
Like this, if this was like a phone thing, you know how like every 2 years to 3 years, whatever your plan is, you get to go take your phone in and upgrade it for a newer version. If they did that with gaming consoles, it would make sense.
Yeah,
right. Like you get a little bit of money back for your gaming console, your PS4, when you go upgrade to a PS5.
Texter from the 813 says, Cole, I think you're a cool guy as long as you're not talking. Well, Texter from the 813, I hope you're not spelling it. K-N-O-T. I mean, come on, not K-N-O-T.
Maybe he's just a big Slipknot fan, and his phone just auto-corrected to K-N-O-T.
Whose phone auto-corrects to K-N-O-T?
Madcraft says new gen consoles only. Okay, so that PS4 it's just a paperweight. That's all it is. Hey, guys, we've been setting up our bracket for the summer of 2024. We've gotten 2 of our categories populated with your suggestions. We've got another one coming up in the next segment. We'll take your nominations for your favorite spot in the upstate. It can be in a downtown. It can be out in nature somewhere. What is your favorite spot in the upstate? We'll talk about that next here on the Fan Upstate. setting up for a fan favorite tradition over the next couple of weeks, Cole, our summer bracket right here in the Upstate. Now, we had a couple of categories that you guys really, really loved. None of them stood out tremendously past the others. Now, obviously, the category that we took nominees for yesterday, which was your favorite mom and pop local restaurant, no chains allowed, that one got a ton of suggestions. But earlier last week, Cole, we also took nominees for your favorite downtown. And people loved Greer, Fountain Inn, Greenville, Travelers Rest, Simpsonville, Spartanburg. If you got a favorite downtown you want to get in there, we got, I think, one more slot left available for that bracket. But Cole, today we are going to be looking for your suggestions, your Tolo suggestions, which means turn it on, leave it on, for your favorite spot, your favorite place in the Upstate. Now, I know that sounds like a really big thing, but it could be pretty place. It could be Falls Park on the suspension bridge, whatever it might be. Want to get your suggestions for your favorite spot in the Upstate. Think about it this way. If you were hosting family who are coming in from out of state, who've never been to Greenville before, where are you taking them?
That's 25 Garlington Road. And while those texts do come in, Diesel, I have to click on the text because Sly Guy was not taking a shot earlier. He said, Cole, I think you're a cool guy as long as you're not talking Cowboys. However, Sly Guy, I had to click on it to see the part about the Cowboys. It didn't show that on the text line, so I had to click on your number. That's my apologies. And he said his phone did correct to KNOT, taking shots at my Cowboys. Come on, man. I like it, though. I love it.
So this is your chance. Tolo, 71307. Start your text with keyword fan T-Swizzle incorrect. You can't say this. He goes, Waffle House, son.
Well, you said, where are you taking your whole family if they come visit, right?
Oh, okay. Well, to each their own, I guess.
Is that not where you take your family when they come into town?
No, that's where we go after where Bob says you should take your family. He says, take them to Nikita's Gentleman's Club, 10 out of 10. Then you go to Waffle House afterwards.
You're horrible.
That's funny, Bob.
0 for 2 on the comments Bob. So far. 0 for
That's
2.
Funny, Bob. Taking your suggestions. 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. Your favorite spot in the Upstate. Now, I always take people to the curved suspension bridge in Falls Park. Like, that's one of those spots that people who have never been here, they see it and they're like, oh my God, this is an engineering marvel, right? Because you got the waterfall down below.
Yeah.
Now you got the buildings that are being built, like the skyline that's sort of coming up out of nowhere directly behind the waterfalls. I think that's a fantastic spot in the Upstate.
So mine are borderline Upstate because, like if, you talk about outdoor spots, hiking trails, waterfalls, things like that. On the North Carolina side, sometimes Cleveland area, Table Rock's a really good one. I mean, I don't know if that counts as the Upstate. I don't think it does, but it's what? It's only from here.
Table Rock State Park. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is that considered
that
Upstate? Okay, so that counts. Table Rock State Park's a great one, right? Great. Texter from the 407 says Catawba Casino. God, I can't even get my thoughts without laughing with these texts coming in. The Catawba Casino. That's your favorite spot? Is that where you take your family when they come into town?
What's the name of that place? You see it on the TV. See it on TV and Facebook all the time. It's like a chapel. It's like
Pretty Place.
Pretty Place. There you go.
Yeah, that's not far from here either. I believe that is in Cleveland. If I'm not mistaken, Chinmay Rock was what I meant to say. T-Swizzle, but I think I said Table Rock. So my apologies there. I agree with you. Chinmay Rock's great. Green River, I know that's technically North Carolina, but these are all spots that you can be at, from right here in less than an hour. It don't take long to get to Chinmay Rock or the Green River, Table Rock. What was the one you said? The place where you look out?
Pretty Place.
Not Pretty Place, but the
bridge.
The
Bald Rock.
Bald Rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bald Rock's cool.
I don't think I said Bald Rock out loud. We did have a texter and say Bald Rock. So
gotcha.
Somehow we all ended up at the exact same place at the exact same time. How about
Bald Rock's a good spot.
Swamp Rabbit Trail.
Yes, I forget about that one a lot because I'm not a Greenville guy, right? I live in Spartanburg. But Greenville, especially northern Greenville, does have
I'm gonna text her.
better
I know you're
places.
kidding, but I'm gonna put Catawba Casino anyway. I'm gonna write it down.
Is he kidding though? Is he? He might not be.
Do they have table games at Catawba Casino?
So breaking news.
Huh?
In June, they now have table games with live dealers. This is not a paid ad for Catawba Casino.
Really?
However, as of June,
that's dangerous.
the last time I came down old 85 and accidentally got off the exit. I was trying to go towards Spartanburg, but my GPS rerouted me to Catawba Casino. And then when I got there, I had to go use the restroom, right? So I went in, and that's when I saw the table games. That's when I saw them. So it is a lot. And T-Swizzle, yes, Harrah's is better, but hey, they have table games now. Better than nothing. Better than nothing. So continue to get those suggestions in on the text line, 71307. We've got to run because on the other side, Kelly Ford. First time on this show. Diesel used to talk to Kelly a good bit. Does a fantastic job when it comes to analytics at K Ford Ratings. We'll talk all things college football and more with Kelly next.
It's Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Looking at this man's website, I love the fact, Cole, that we have a timer telling us exactly how long we have to wait for college football. 45 days, 7 hours, 59 minutes, and now 0 seconds. We're getting close, man. We're
I need timers in my
football.
life.
We need more of that. Coming on the show with us now, first time on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. He's at K Ford Ratings on Twitter. Analytics guru Kelly Ford joins us on Wire to Wire. And I'm going to go straight to the Tolos who knew you were coming on, Kelly. They had questions ready for you. Madcraft wants to know, what do Kelly Ford's ratings say about the most plausible ACC champion, and what are Miami's realistic expectations?
Oh, you guys got it. I appreciate you having me on. So most plausible ACC champion as things stand right now, my numbers lean towards Florida State. I'm projecting 6 regular season wins in conference on average for Florida State. That's the exact same as Clemson, followed by Louisville, and then you get the Hurricanes, 5.4. So about a half game less projected wins in conference play for Miami than for Florida State and Clemson. Florida State is my highest power-rated team in the ACC at number 10 in the preseason version 2 numbers. Clemson's number 14. I've got Miami at number 17. I have 9-3 as the most likely record for the Hurricanes, a 29% chance to win 10 or more regular season games. So if you're asking for the most realistic expectation, I say anywhere between 8 and 10 wins. And if you want to make the playoff, I think you've got to get to at least 10, at least as an at-large. Of course, if you win the ACC, you've got the automatic berth. But to get to an at-large consideration, I think Miami fans should be hoping for 10 regular season wins.
Hey, Kelly, this is Cole. For me, as well as any new listeners we have on this show, Wire to Wire, can you go into a little bit of a refresher on what makes these K Ford ratings?
Yeah, absolutely, Cole. And I'm excited to be here with you guys today for the first time. So what goes into my numbers in the preseason, which of course is where we are now, there's 3 main inputs, and that's your returning production. So how much of last year's team are you bringing back? I do incorporate transfers into that, and I have scalars or modifiers, if you will, to account for the varying levels of competition faced for transfers. We know that production at the Power 5 or now Power 4 level is not equal to production at the Group of 5 level, is not equal to production at the FCS level. So we try to use modifiers to scale that production to make an estimate for how much we can expect for the student athlete at their new school. So that's the biggest input, returning production. Also, what's your recent K Ford rating history as a program? What was your power rating last year in 2023? How about 2022, 2021? And then finally, how well have you recruited in the recent year? So what's your high school recruiting look like this year, last year, 2 years ago? And guys, I've spent time this summer really tweaking the weights of those inputs because, as we all know, the way that rosters are constructed in college football in 2024 is much different than the way rosters were constructed 2, 3, 5, certainly more 10 years ago, right? So it used to be that you'd lose players to the NFL draft or to graduation and you'd replace them with high school talent. Well, now with the transfer portal, you can turn over a roster in 1 year. So your returning production probably matters a little bit more. Not probably, it does matter more now than it did recently, whereas your recent K Ford ratings, your high school recruiting, that matters a little bit less. It's still informative. It still has predictive power, but it matters a little bit less. Once we get going into the season, I phase out the preseason component and it gets replaced, of course, with a much more informative in-season data. And that's when we really know exactly what these teams are.
Kelly Ford joining us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Kelly, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I see that the checks coming out of Austin, Texas are still clearing. You got them number 4 on your preseason rankings. Your projections are really high on Texas, as they should be. Texas, very, very good football team, projected to be that way. But they're also just as down on Oklahoma, projecting just 4 conference wins as the most likely scenario for them. Why is Oklahoma in such a bad spot in your preseason ratings?
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. I am right now projecting 4-4 as the most likely record for Oklahoma in SEC play. But what's really important to consider for all teams, but Oklahoma certainly is a team that's in this category, is not just your projected team strength. Because I actually have Oklahoma as the number 8 power-rated team in the country coming into this year as things currently stand. But Oklahoma plays the 6th most difficult schedule overall in the country. And more importantly to their SEC projections, it's the 3rd most difficult SEC conference slate. So basically, if we strip away all the non-conference games that anybody plays in the SEC and look just at that conference schedule, Oklahoma plays the 3rd most difficult conference schedule this year. And that's even considering the fact that Oklahoma misses Georgia. They miss Texas A&M. They miss Florida, who I have highly power rated. So even missing those powerhouse teams, Oklahoma still has a very difficult conference schedule, and that's how you get to 4-4 in conference play as the most likely, 8-4 as the most likely record overall for the Sooners, even though this is a top 10 power-rated team. The schedule is just incredibly difficult, and you have to factor in, and this is something the model doesn't necessarily see, but what's the impact going to be of Oklahoma transitioning from the Big 12 to the SEC? No offense to the Big 12 or to any other Power 4 conference, but the SEC is a different animal, and Oklahoma used to be the big kid on the block every single week. That was Team Super Bowl. Now you're just one of many really, really, really good teams, a blue blood program, but you're not the Super Bowl anymore. That could work to Oklahoma's advantage, but the week in, week out grind could work against Oklahoma even more this year.
Hey, Kelly, Mantis on our in the comments section on our stream asked about Clemson being so high and says, look, returning production on defense is ranked 103rd. They didn't add anyone from the portal. And while offensive production returning is high, they weren't great in 23. So can you go into a little bit of depth on the Clemson side of that ranking?
Yeah, for sure. So for Clemson, as I pull them up here, they're number 14 in the preseason for me. I have them number 20 on the offensive side. You talk about a lot of the returning production on the offensive side of the ball, and we'll see if Dabo is able to adjust here and make things work. That number 20, that would be the highest that Clemson has been projected on the offensive side since the 2020 season. On defense, I'm projecting number 13. And yes, they're not bringing back as much on the defensive side as on the offensive side. But what we have to remember is that historically, especially in recent years, Clemson has been better on the defensive side of the ball. Last year, they finished number 10. 2 years ago was a down year by Clemson standards, finishing number 19 on defense. But prior to that, if you look at the CFP era, Clemson, prior to 2022, did not finish worse than ninth in the defensive side of the ball unit rankings in the CFP era. So this is a program that has a really rich history, especially in recent years on the defensive side. I'm expecting them to maybe take a little step back from number 10 last year to now number 13 this year, but I still think this is going to be a really good unit. And when you consider the relative strength of the ACC with respect to what Clemson's projecting as, that's how Clemson is still one of the top 2 teams in my ACC projections and a favorite to make it to Charlotte at the end of the year.
Talking ratings and analytics with Kelly Ford at K Ford Ratings on Twitter. Getting to 6 wins is going to be absolutely critical for Shane Beamer keeping his job at South Carolina. A 6-win season or less, probably not enough to get him fired this year, but certainly enough to put him squarely on the hot seat. Your projections for South Carolina, if I'm reading these correctly, essentially have them sitting at about 2.5 conference wins. What SEC games do you see as the most likely wins for South Carolina?
Yeah, so South Carolina is another team that has a really difficult schedule. From a power rating standpoint, I've got South Carolina number 38. That would be the best South Carolina team by my numbers since 2018, but it's a top 10 most difficult schedule in the country. So if we're looking at the SEC games in particular, let's see, out of the gate at Kentucky, that's a 38% chance to win. LSU's a 32% chance to win. Same with Ole Miss, 9% at Alabama, 14% at Oklahoma. Texas A&M is 37%. Then you get to Vanderbilt with an 81% win expectancy before closing with Missouri at a 37% win expectancy. So there's only one SEC game this year, that's Vanderbilt, with a win expectancy of greater than 50% for South Carolina. So in any individual game right now outside of Vanderbilt, my model would put South Carolina as the underdog. However, we know that they're going to win some of these games in which they're projecting as an underdog. That's how you get the 2.8 wins on average in conference. 3-5 is the most likely outcome right now for me in my projections with South Carolina. A 62% chance to reach that 6-win threshold overall and go bowling. A 12% chance to get to 8-4. So yeah, this is a big year for Shane Beamer. It's a tough schedule. I think it's a good South Carolina team, especially by the standards of recent years. But it might be difficult to stack wins just because that schedule's so tough.
Kelly, I'm intrigued on the projected SEC standings, really the top 3 with Georgia, Texas, and Alabama. I mean, I see on your website that you have Georgia at 6.5. Texas at 6.4, and Alabama at 5.5. How much, I guess, I know those numbers aren't far off, but how much could those three, in your opinion, change the first few weeks of the season?
Yeah, those right now are the three teams projecting to have the highest conference win total for me. And Texas is the one that kind of stands out there a little bit with regard to how do they get there. All of them are top 5 power-rated teams for me. Georgia number 1, Texas number 4, Alabama number 5. But Georgia and Alabama facing very difficult schedules. Georgia's the number 2 most difficult schedule in the country. Alabama's number 9. Texas is number 19, which is still really tough, but relative to SEC standards, a little bit easier. For Texas, though, they have the weakest SEC conference slate in terms of projected difficulty. There is no SEC team by my numbers that has an easier conference slate than Texas. It's 16 out of 16. There's only one game this year that my numbers make Texas a projected underdog. That's against Georgia in Week 8 when the Bulldogs go to Austin, a 44% chance for Texas to win that game. If you're talking about changes early in the season, Georgia, they got Clemson right off the bat. My numbers give Georgia an 85% chance to win that game. So certainly it's possible that Clemson can win that, but my numbers do make Georgia a pretty heavy favorite. And then for Texas, of course, the Week 2 trip to Michigan, that's going to be a tough one. We're going to learn a lot about both Texas and Michigan in that game. And then for Alabama, they ease into their schedule a little bit more. Maybe a tricky trip to Wisconsin in Week 3, if you want to call it that. But in Week 5, Alabama hosts Georgia. Of course, that's going to be an absolutely massive game, not just in the SEC, but nationally. So certainly by the end of Week 5, we're going to have a very clear understanding of who these teams are and kind of how they stack up. But those are the three teams right now that are projecting to be the favorites, at least in the conference standings by my numbers.
You can tell that Kelly Ford is a pro because he didn't miss a beat when Cole and I both chuckled at that 85% chance for Georgia to beat Clemson there in Week 1. I want to bring us back up to the Tigers here. Are there any individual statistical indicators in your preseason production analytics that you feel do a particularly good job at predicting year-over-year on-field improvement at the quarterback position, specifically as it might apply to Cade Klubnik?
That's a good question. So not necessarily anything that I can talk about in terms of individual statistics that show the year-over-year growth or improvement. There are, of course, things that we're looking at with regard to the production that a quarterback or any position unit is able to accrue over the course of a year. But really, quarterback is the most important position, in all of team sports, certainly in football. And so having a returning player of the caliber of Cade Klubnik, and I know we can have a debate about what that caliber is. The reality is he was very, very highly sought after coming out of high school. I think most people agree that his ceiling is very, very high. Is he going to be able in the Clemson offense to experience and achieve that high potential? That's the big question. And that's something that we've maybe seen some flashes, but we haven't seen consistently. And so can he achieve that this year in this system for an offense that is bringing back a lot of production? And he's certainly a part of that. So I'm not sure there's necessarily much I can go into on the individual statistics standpoint there, but Cade Klubnik for me, the way I think about Cade Klubnik is he has the potential, and this might be a hot take, and you're part of the country, I'm not sure, but he has the potential to be in the Heisman conversation this year. He plays quarterback, which is almost a prerequisite for the most part. So quarterback who is on a contending Power 4 team, who has very, very high upside, and if you look at the schedule, there's maybe 2 games that you're circling as Clemson will be an underdog in those games. Outside of that, they should be a favorite in each of those. So I think that's the type of player that Cade Klubnik could be. He could be in New York at the end of the year at the Heisman Trophy ceremony, or if he plays poorly, it's possible that Clemson only wins 8 games this year, which of course would be a major disappointment. So I think the jury's still out. I think there's a wide range of outcomes, but more times than not, as the model runs a simulation, I'm encouraged by what Cade Klubnik has shown and what his potential is.
Kelly, I like that answer a lot. I'm looking at your preseason top 30 right now. In your opinion, Kelly, which, by the way, I think it's pretty darn accurate. I don't have a ton of rebuttal, not a ton of pushback. But in your opinion, who's the team in the top 30 that could very quickly find themselves in the top 4? I know the playoff is expanded this season, but maybe somebody who's not in that top 5, top 10, they could find themselves quickly in the top 4, in your opinion.
Yeah, so from a ranking standpoint, I'm looking at Utah and Kansas State and Oklahoma State. Like, I'm looking directly at the Big 12 because one of those teams out of the Big 12, just the way the playoff is structured now, is going to receive a top 4 seed in the CFP this year. I mean, more likely than not, 99.9% sure that's going to be the case. So I'm looking at Utah at number 18, Kansas State at number 19, Oklahoma State at number 24, Arizona's 25, Kansas is 26. Like, all of those teams, somebody from that grouping most likely is going to be the Big 12 champion, and one of those teams is going to be in the top 4. From a power rating standpoint, I don't project any of those teams to climb that high in the power ratings, but in terms of where they're going to be in the CFP picture, those are the teams that stick out to me. If you're looking, outside the top 10, who might be able to make a jump, Michigan's number 12. My model down on Michigan this year. They lost a ton of production from last year's team that, of course, went undefeated and won a national championship. But they're at number 12. They might, if they can piece things together, both with the team and the coaching staff, they might be a team that sneaks up the power ratings here. I'm looking at, let me see if I go down farther down the list. SMU's intriguing at number 27. They're in the ACC now. I'm not suggesting they're going to be, a top 5 or even top 10 power rated team, but they're an interesting team. They're making a transition into the Power 4 conferences. I'm just curious how it's going to go. They have a schedule that sets up pretty nicely for them. As I pull up their team page quickly from a schedule standpoint, it's the third easiest schedule of any Power 4 team. It's number 66 out of 68 in schedule difficulty. So that's a team to watch that might have a really, really good record, even if they're not, a top 5 or 10 power rated team. But those are just some of the teams that catch my eye that are outside the top 10 right now that might make their way up the board, whether that's a power rating or a CFP ranking.
If you are a numbers nerd, you got to go find his website, kfordratings.com. Kelly, I see you have some merch for sale on your website as well. There's one that really stands out to me because I am guilty of this, and you don't understand how much this hurts my heart of the instance that I am guilty of this. But you got a T-shirt for sale that says, "Only casuals leave early." Can you tell me what story inspired that shirt on your site?
Yeah, so to me, I mean, one of my kind of principles when watching a college football game or at a college football game is you stay till it hits 0. And we had a great example of why you do that last year down in Coral Gables in a Miami game, of why you do not leave a game or turn off a game until the clock hits 0. So for me, that was something that, something I kind of live by when watching college football. It really is not over until it's over, because college football is crazy. Anything can happen. So to me, if you're a casual, and of course, Josh Pate has made that phrase a very, very popular and very well known in the college football space. If you're a casual, sure, you can leave early. But those of us who truly love college football and know that anything can happen are certainly going to be there until you see triple zeros on the clock in the fourth quarter.
Well, Kelly, I will tell you that I was at the Miracle on the Mountain game, the App State Furman game, where there was a interception in the end zone, pitch back to a faster player, took it back 97 yards for the game-winning score, and I had to leave that game early. I was not there for that final play, and you have no idea how much that hurts my heart.
Oh, it's got to be among the biggest regrets of your life right there. I mean, I don't know, I don't know everything about you, but holy cow, yeah, that's got to be brutal. And again, and I'm not saying that you didn't say you left on your own accord, but you had to leave for whatever reason. This is why we should do everything we can to be staying at these games, because in the event that something crazy happens and you had the opportunity to be there and you made a conscious decision not to, it's going to stick with you forever, as it does for you here. And man, that hurts my heart just to hear.
Hey, Kelly, last one from me. T-Swizzle on the stream. This has already got the stream fired up. If Clemson takes down Georgia first week, says T-Swizzle, top 4. We are top 4 in the country the next week. I'm looking at your rankings. They're 14th in your poll. Could have win over the number 1 Bulldogs, get them from 13th to 4.
So I'll take it as a 2-part question, because are we talking power ratings or resume rankings? If Clemson finds a way to knock off Georgia in week 1, and again, my numbers right now, 15% chance, so it's not crazy, but it's not likely by my model. If Clemson finds a way to win that game, I'm telling you right now, here on July 9th, 2024, Clemson will be my number 1 most deserving ranked team going into week 2. There is no question about that. I don't care what anybody else in the country does. Clemson's going to be number 1 in my most deserving ranking. I'm also telling you that unless Clemson wins that game by about 70 points, Clemson will not find themselves in the top 4 of my power ratings the next week, because right now Clemson has a power rating of 15.9, just about 16. The number 4 team in the country is Texas at 25.1. It is next to impossible, if not impossible, for a team to climb 9 football points per game in my model in 1 week. Now, if Clemson follows that up by absolutely demolishing App State, now we're talking, because clearly the model was miscalibrated on Clemson and needs to be adjusted. But no, Clemson will not be in the top 4 of my power ratings in week 2, even if they beat Georgia. However, they will be number 1, undisputed by a large margin in the most deserving rankings if they knock off Georgia.
No, Kelly, I got to tell you, we were going strong for the longest time, and then you used the words, if Clemson demolishes App State. I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that at all, but you are the absolute best. It's been far too long since we've had you on the station, and it's great to have you on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson for the first time. Thanks for your time.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk again soon.
Appreciate you. That is Kelly Ford at K Ford Ratings on Twitter and on his website. I mean, I'm telling you, if you are a numbers guy, this is where you got to go. There is so much statistical data on his website projecting the odds of a team winning X number of games or more, most deserving. He's got some ratings coming up on his website that we didn't even get a chance to ask him about, that we definitely will ask him about the next time around, his what if rankings. There's so much going on that website. You got to go and find it. When we come back, Tolos, I want to know from you. I want to gauge just how obsessed you actually are with your team. Looking for the most obsessed Tolo. I'll explain to you what I mean, and I'll get your ratings, your self-scouting next, right here on the Fan Upstate. How many times per day and how many ways would you say that you engage with your favorite team? Even now during the off season, Cole. I haven't told my wife about this, and if she's listening, then she'll know because she does listen to our show sometimes. I've already gone back and started watching old games on YouTube. Like that's one of my things. It's one of the things that I do in the off season. Like I'll just have it on in the background. I'm not really watching it. Like I already know the outcome of the game. And before you say, oh, you just go back and watch the games that you won. No, I'll go back and watch, games that we lost, knowing that, it was a really good and entertaining game. But I've already started doing that. I'm not proud of it, but it's just part of who I am. And it's just something that she has to deal with. So I know that you are a lifelong Clemson fan.
Mm-hmm.
I am an App State fan. JD is a Gamecock fan. Madcraft is a Miami fan. I want to know from all of you and all you Tolos listening whose names I didn't just mention. 71307. Start your text with keyword fan or message us on the stream, Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. How many times per day right now would you say that you engage with your favorite college team? And that means across the board. That means waking up and checking Twitter to see if they've posted anything, going to lists that you've created, going to websites, putting on gear, like grabbing that Gamecock t-shirt that you wear. How many times per day, how obsessed with you are right now with your team?
So it's a great question. I'm glad you didn't ask the question about the NFL teams because my answer would have been a lot different. College right now, with it being the middle of July, I don't find myself as engaged as I will a month from now. However, when it comes to my pro team, I'm engaged probably 3 to 4 times a day.
That's it? I would have thought it was more than that.
No, I'd say between watching videos.
Is there like a Jerry Watch website where you try to find out if Jerry's finally kicked the bucket?
If you follow if you follow any Dallas beat writers or reporters, all you have to do is open Twitter, and it's always something. So I'd say, luckily, you asked about college, and I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all. Mantis, we appreciate you being on the stream today. 250 times per day.
I don't believe you, man. Mrs. Mantis would never see you. You never talk to Mrs. Mantis.
250 times.
So for those of you who do engage a lot, what does that look like for you?
I mean, God.
I wake up and I have a list on my Twitter account that are just all these App State accounts that I follow.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go check that list immediately. Like before I even roll over and get out of bed, I look at this thing and I scroll and I'm like, okay, nothing crazy happened. Nothing caught on fire. I can start my day normally, right? Then I go downstairs and I watch some TV and then, I may come back upstairs to do my morning constitutionals, after a couple of cups of coffee have hit me. And then I'm on the official fan site and I'm reading the comment sections on the official fan site. And then I'm back on that Twitter list again. So that's at least 3 times right there. Like I don't get to do it as much as I used to. I used to be way worse at this. Like I used to be checking it 3 or 4 times during the show every day.
Yeah.
Because, I didn't have a whole lot to do during the show. So I'd be on there checking it every single day. Of course, then I would come home and I would check it another time or 2 before going to bed. And sometimes that means throwing on I consider a touch point is like putting on any piece of App State gear.
Yeah.
Or I've got my my big Tervis cup. I drink out of the same 3 App State cups every single day. So I'm engaging with that like 8 or 9 times per day. Like I'm seeing the logo, I'm touching the logo, I'm re-engaging that emotional connection.
The true Tolos would say they're engaging several times a day just from this show, right? Because we're going to talk South Carolina, we're going to talk Clemson right now a couple of times a show, not as many, but obviously as football season gets here, it'll increase.
Madcraft, he says, I check my team's socials. Then I check Florida State socials so I can laugh at how mad they are at our recruiting. See, Madcraft, he touched on something. I haven't gotten there yet, Madcraft, but I did last year and the year before that when App State played North Carolina.
Yeah.
I would be on their socials multiple times over the course of the summer.
Just watching.
Like 4 or 5 times. I want to know how many of them are whining, if we don't win this game,
Yeah.
it makes us look really bad. But if we do win this game, we don't gain anything from it. We shouldn't even be playing this team.
Well, how many South Carolina Gamecock fans and vice versa, Clemson fans, are the first ones tweeting back as soon as an article is posted by a Clemson outlet, right? Who's the first few comments? Gamecock fans.
Always.
Same thing.
Y'all are obsessed with each other.
Gamecock article gets posted from somebody in the Gamecock beat, and Clemson fans right back. First ones to comment. That's the way it is.
Did we look it up to see how many Gamecock fans were poo-poo posting about Tate Reynolds? You know, them saying that he was there, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I saw some.
As a 3-star.
Yeah, that's what sparked that conversation yesterday.
Jeez.
Let's see.
Guys.
Amazon guy says, I sport my Clemson Sugar Bowl hat to work every day. I like that. Tiger Pal Rachel says, or asks, does it count if my Jeep is Clemson orange?
It does, Tiger Pal Rachel, if you bought that orange Jeep because you're a Clemson fan.
I think she did.
Yeah?
I think so.
I mean, would you go so far, Rachel? And because orange is a difficult color to get, and obviously you can order it. Did you go on the website? Because it's a big thing now to like go order your Jeeps. Did you go on there and order the orange one, just like whatever color orange they make, or could you like do that little eyedropper thing and tell them exactly what color you wanted? Did you order your orange Jeep custom Clemson orange? Because Clemson orange is not Florida orange, is not Tennessee orange, is not Texas orange.
Kevin from Fairplay says, I'm obsessed with the Falcons. I know it's not college, but as a Gamecock fan, not a lot to obsess over. As a Falcons fan, I have recurring nightmares from or about 28-3, as you should.
Don't feel bad, Rachel, because I did buy a black Jeep years ago specifically to support my team.
And to Kevin's point, nothing was on last night. The Braves didn't come on until like 9:30. So
you didn't get to watch it at all because you don't get the Bally.
Well,
network.
I have other ways. I watched it last night, believe it or
you
not.
do watch.
I watched all 11 innings last night. And on
they eked one out.
Yeah, the other third-party websites, right? So last night, to Kevin from Fairplay's point, there was a rerun, I believe, on NFL Network of Dallas versus Philadelphia from 2018. And here I am last night.
Watching Probably just as fascinated into it as you were before.
The score was 9-6 in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, oh, dear God, I remember every play just as it were the first time.
I feel like Amazon guy is going to get in trouble one day for like stealing one of those little Gamecock yard flags because he's a Clemson fan. He's going to steal it. And he's going to take it. He's going to be gone.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not. Amazon guy. Maybe he would just change it. How about that? Just change the flag over instead of taking it. Manta says, well, Carolina hadn't been good in a long time, and it's looking bleak that we will ever be again.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Sorry, Mantis. That conversation that we were having with Kelly Ford in the last segment probably doesn't make you feel super rosy about South Carolina. Like, how much money does South Carolina have to slip somebody at the SEC office to give them one of those Texas-style schedules? Because Texas is walking through their schedule.
Or Missouri schedule. We looked at it last week. It's
like you're doing everything you can to make your out-of-conference as easy as possible. So who you got to bribe to get some of these really hard teams off your schedule?
Stephen Webb says, I'm obsessed football and a football Clemson fan, as my profile picture shows. Back to what you said about Kelly Ford's comment about South Carolina. No, that doesn't provide a lot of light or hope for Gamecock fans, but I'm not so sure that the 85% number that he threw out there for Clemson, Georgia is what Clemson fans want to hear either. I mean,
no.
That's pretty much closed in the door, slam shut, isn't it?
I mean, Georgia is as elite gets right now. They are on the tippy top of this game. But there's no reason that should ever be higher if you're Clemson than a 65% chance for Georgia to win that game.
65, I would understand on a down year, but 85%.
That's ridiculous.
That is
those are the numbers, the percentage chances to win. Those are the numbers that Clemson held over teams they played on their schedule when this team was really elite.
That makes me kind of rethink that email we got earlier about the credentials for Clemson, Georgia. I may check out South Carolina. Who South Carolina played that day?
Yeah.
Do we know? Is that August 31st? Is that what that is?
Tiger Pal Rachel says she didn't special order her orange Jeep, but she did drive from Greer to Kiwi Dodge to drive it and then buy it. Very interesting. Tiger Pal Rachel, I know we're kind of hammering in on you quite a bit here. Did how accurately does that orange Jeep paint color match Clemson orange? Like, is it dead on perfect match, or in your mind is like it's close enough?
Here's a great question. I just looked at the schedule. Would you rather, before we hit a break, let's say that the Clemson Georgia game is a blowout, right? 85% chance.
Yep.
It's not close. Georgia wins big. Would you rather drive 3 hours plus to Atlanta to watch Clemson get curb stomped? Or would you rather go to Columbia to watch South Carolina versus Old Dominion in a game that South Carolina should win by 21, 24?
Well, you want to be in Atlanta because it's the biggest game in college football, one of the biggest games in college football that day. And, of course, there's so much history and rivalry between these two fan bases.
I agree with you. I just don't think it'll last.
But truthfully, I think South Carolina Old Dominion is going to be a closer football game.
God.
Like a more competitive game. And I'm not saying like, oh, this is going to be a 10-0 game for South Carolina. I think Old Dominion might be able to give South Carolina a game for like 2.5, 3 quarters.
Then I would rather go to Columbia. Don't tell me that, because I may change my mind. I don't know. That's, I understand your point. It is the biggest. The Clemson Georgia game will be the biggest game of the day. But my question is, you drive down there, especially for fans, Clemson fans go and tailgate, right? They get there early in the morning. They're tailgating. The spectacle, the build-up, the anticipation, and then the first quarter, all that comes.
By the way, how the hell do you even tailgate for that game?
You might
like for Mercedes-Benz.
They'll probably have surrounding parking lots.
I've been to one event there, and I had to walk like a blue 1.5 miles, 2 miles to get there.
I've never been.
It's a fantastic arena. I'll say this. I think new football arenas are confusing as hell because there's so many escalators to get you from level to level to level to level. It's so odd.
Mantis, back to your point about South Carolina, says that's a little bold. I can see it almost being like the Furman game last year. Interesting. We'll see. I had a lot of time to talk about it between now and then. But those are your two. Opening week, Clemson, Georgia. Old Dominion, which will be closer at the half? That's a great question we'll need to ask, right?
Texter says, Diesel, it may be 10-0 or 17-3 at halftime, which with hopefully the Gamecocks pulling away in the second half, but that's my exact expectation.
God, what a terrible expectation.
What a fart in the wind way to start a season.
Yeah, really.
Not
10-0 at the half. Get excited about that. Daily Wires coming up next. It's time to get you updated on what's going on in the world of sports. We call them our daily wires.
Bzz.
Before I do that, Mantis says, I'm new to the show on YouTube. Who are Diesel and Cole's teams? I did comment back. Diesel's an App State guy, and I'm a Clemson guy, so we appreciate you being a new Tolo Mantis. That stands for Turn It On, Leave It On.
Ooh, I just thought up a great 5 o'clock fight for tomorrow.
You can suggest a fight by emailing Diesel at thefanupstate.
I'm just saying, this just popped into my head. Mantis, you put a thought into my head. You didn't realize that you were inspiring a 5 o'clock fight, but you just did. So I'm not going to reveal exactly what it is.
Yeah,
but if you listen to the show tomorrow, Mantis, you're going to hear the question that you inspired.
All righty, let's get you update on those daily wires. Yes, last night. No, not last night. This morning, the Atlanta Braves game completed. It went final. That's right. This morning, in 11 innings, the Atlanta Braves, guess what they did? They won again. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 wins in a row for the Atlanta Braves, and I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to be excited about it because it may not last long, right? They defeated the Diamondbacks in 11 innings, 5-4 last night. They have won every game this season against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
You, Cole, are the real-life scene in Major League when the team starts to turn and starts to find some success. There's like 1 or 2 people saying like, maybe they're not so bad. You're the guy over there going, they're going to suck. They're going to find a way to screw this up.
I'm trying to be realistic. I don't want to rush and crush my expectations, rather. I did get very excited this morning when this game went final. Again, they'll face Arizona tonight, 9:40. Chris Sale gets to start for the Braves. This is what, again, not getting overexcited, but the last 3 games, especially last night, timely hitting, that's what we're used to last night. It got me fired up, and for the first time this season, man, last night felt really good, like really, really good as a Braves fan. I keep saying last night. It was this morning because the game didn't start till almost 10 o'clock, but we'll see if they can get 4 in a row tonight. Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback Cameron Sutton has been has been suspended for 8 games without pay for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy, the league announced on Monday. I thought you'd like this one, Diesel. Former college football announcer Joe Tessitore, who I thought did a good job, has officially joined the WWE announce team. Boo.
God.
Why would you do that, right?
Joe Tessitore, you're dead to me.
I mean, come on, Joe. We liked you calling games. And you join a fake sport where they script everything and hand you a script and say, here's what's going to happen.
Conspiracy theorists would say that major college football is scripted as well.
Yeah, that's true. You're right about that. But sorry to see you go, Joe. I liked hearing you.
I did like Joe Tessitore.
He was a good one. He really was. As you heard on the Sports Flash earlier, Dak Prescott cautions Cowboys Nation and says that walking boot that I had on, it's just, it's nothing. It's nothing. Don't even look at it. Don't look at the walking boot. It's precautionary. It's doing great. Nothing's wrong here,
because
right?
people just wear walking boots for fun, right?
Well,
and for
I think
fashion.
it was a fashion thing that Dak was trying to kind of implement and maybe get Antonio Brown and those guys, Cam Newton might be in a walking boot next time, man. You never know. That's what they do. It's fashion. Has nothing to do with injuries. What are you talking about? Jacksonville Jaguars defensive end. Well, I can't say this name, Josh Allen. He's changing his last name to Hines Allen to pay tribute to the maternal side of his family.
He loves his mama.
He sure does. His sister, Maisha, plays for the Washington
Mystics.
Congratulations. You get that one right.
I only know because I was literally typing it right now.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, we did.
I was correcting my spelling error.
We did the WNBA challenge yesterday.
If you asked me the same ones that we did yesterday, I'd probably get the same ones wrong because it's already in one ear and out the other.
So it is now Josh Hines Allen. That is his new name. Livy Dunn announced that she will return to LSU for a fifth season. LSU is coming off of its first national championship. As of November, her NIL valuation is $3.3 million.
So I've always wondered, and maybe you can shed some light on this for me, Cole. What does that actually mean to say that your NIL valuation is $3.3 million? Does that mean that, the analytics say you have a potential to earn $3.3 million off of your name, image, and likeness? Because any company could just come in and throw you some more money. Like I don't really.
I thought
understand.
It was how much they had promised you. Is what I thought. I don't know.
Is that what it is? Okay, I don't know. I mean, but shout out to Livy Dunn. I mean,
yeah.
There's
NIL valuation is an estimate of how much a college name, image, and likeness is worth at that moment. So right now, if it were November, it's saying that's how much her NIL is worth, $3.3 million.
So it's just a projection. It's not a hard number, because I guess they don't have to report that information, right?
I guess they don't.
I mean, they don't have to. Livy Dunn or Cade Klubnik or whoever doesn't have to report publicly anywhere where his money is coming from. But shout out, it's a smart business decision. I don't know if she and Skeens, was it Paul Skeens? I mean, they seem to be sports new power couple. He's super rich. So is she.
They might be doing okay.
But once she stops playing college athletics, how much earning potential does she have? Probably goes way down
on websites.
What? Stop.
You asked a question. No, I just meant on like Instagram and TikTok.
Athlete,
I meant on TikTok.
Okay. That's fair.
As an athlete, though, I understand. She's, you know what, though? If anybody can make it after her athletic days, Diesel, I think she will be fine. I think she'll be okay. And last but not least, Arch Manning made a video to announce that he is doing what? He's in the game. He's back in 2025. What's your best right now, spur of the moment, your best EA Sports? It's in the game. Let me hear it.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Pretty good.
Texter says, cue the Diesel. That's a winning streak. It has happened before.
There you go. I'll take it. Hopefully it goes to 4 for those Atlanta Braves. Diesel?
Texter also wants you to find some joy.
And the Braves? I mean, I was happy about the Braves, man. I was excited.
When we come back, it's time for Cole and I to throw some jabs at each other. 5 o'clock fight coming up right here on 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, and everywhere you are on the free Odyssey app. Each and every day at 5 o'clock, Cole, you and I, well, we just can't get along. We got to fight about it. We throw punches at each other with words, not with actual fists, but sometimes those hurt even more. It's called the 5 o'clock fight. It is the most interacted with segment on this show each and every day because you Tolos rock. You always respond. You always text in your votes. You always message them in on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube on the stream. And we appreciate you so much for that. So here's the deal. 3 different topics. Cole and I have to disagree. You, the Tolos, decide who wins each round of the 5 o'clock fight, and then you text in 71307. Start your text with keyword fan or message us on the stream. But you get to hammer the gavel down and tell us who wins. It's the 5 o'clock fight starting right now.
3 topics, 1 winner. It's the 5 o'clock fight on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Cole, you know, it's estimated that nearly 70% of Americans 18 or older need some form of vision correction. I do. I just started wearing glasses. Cole, you wear contacts. So the question is, if you had the choice.
Hold on, 1 second.
Oh, yeah, we got to do that.
Round 1.
Excuse me. Let's start all over again. 70% of Americans need vision correction. Are you a glasses guy or a contacts guy? I think this is pretty apparent, but not what do you do? What would you like to do?
Yeah, it is apparent, especially if you're watching on the stream, right? Especially if you're watching. So I've tried both. And listen, glasses have their advantages, but I'm legally blind. Like, for real.
Bad.
If I didn't have these suckers in right here, I wouldn't be able to tell who you were. I couldn't read that wire to wire behind you. I really don't think I could read anything right here. I mean, it'd have to be like right up on my face. So I tried glasses. I didn't like having to keep up with them. I'm not good at that, right? I lose things a lot at night. I'll roll over and crush them or something if I don't put them in the right spot. So I settled on contacts, and ever since when I was young, I've been wearing contacts a long, long time. And I'll say that contacts are the much better option. I have the ones you can sleep in, but you don't have to worry about anything. I pay a little more for them, but it's the best. Go to bed, wake up, nothing changes, right? Every now and then you have to change them out, give them a little drop to keep them moist, but I'm a contacts guy through and through.
Got to keep them what?
Moist.
Aha. Okay, so I have been wearing glasses now for about a month, month and a half or so. I'm going to be real with you. I'm still not used to them. I still don't like having them on my face. I still don't like having to put headphones on and sort of like pinch them against the side of my head. I don't like them, but there ain't no way that I could wear contacts. I can't. So? No, I can't do it. No, I don't like, I get weirded out with eye stuff. I don't even like putting eye drops in my eyes. Like, it's a struggle. Whenever I try, like, my body just knows when that drop has already left the bottle and it's on its way to my eye. Yeah, my eye's like fluttering and doing that. It always ends up all over my face. I can't do it. So I have to wear glasses. I can't wear contacts. It's not even a choice.
Have you ever, like, touched your eye on accident? Does it just freak you out?
On accident? Yeah, I'm sure I have.
You hate that?
It hurts. I don't like it.
So, yeah, you probably wouldn't do it. Contacts, listen, they have a learning curve. There's no doubt. At first,
couldn't do it.
It will take you forever. What movie is that from?
Forever.
To get them.
Sandlot.
There you go. To get them in your eye. Like, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
However, now I can pop it in and it's no problem.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I have prescription sunglasses now. I have these prescription eyeglasses. I hate having to bring around an eyeglass case with me all the time so that I go inside, take the sunglasses off, put them in the case, put my regular glasses back on. And then I go outside, got to take those off, put the sunglasses back on. My wife told me, she goes, under no circumstances are you buying transition lenses.
Oh.
Because you're a nerd if you have transition lenses. Her words, not mine. You Tolos who are transitions wearers, don't get mad at me. Okay. But I couldn't do it. I've seen my parents wear transition lenses, and every time I think, wow, that's kind of nerdy.
It might be a little bit, right? Madcraft says, I prefer a monocle. He's over there.
Chip, Cheerios.
He's over there
Have a
with
good day
his
to you.
magnifying glass.
Now, the thing, I would love to get LASIK if I knew it was going to be right.
Well, there's
If
too
it
many
was
bad
gonna be
stories.
right. But like I'm wearing these glasses, their prescription, the doctor, I guess, knew what he was doing. And after about a month and a half, they still feel weird on my face. My vision still feels a little wonky. So like I could take these off or I could go get the prescription changed, but I can't undo LASIK.
I have a friend who had LASIK, and the LASIK is now like worn out.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard too many bad stories about it.
I thought LASIK was permanent, that it stuck forever.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. But if you talk to people who've had it, enough of them, unfortunately, you find some little horror stories.
Next up.
Round 2. Fight.
I am a married man. Cole, you are a single man. But let's just pretend for the sake of argument, this is more of a personality test, not a realistic test.
I like personality.
But if we were both single men, Cole, and you were shooting your shot with a lady, would you go with a grand gesture or would you keep it very small with text messages and like distant contact?
This one's tough. This one's very, very tough. Can you give me an example of what a grand gesture would be? That way I'll better understand.
Well, by today's standards, a grand gesture is walking up to somebody and saying hello. But no, like you want to, you've a little bit about that somebody, and you go sort of above and beyond to set up something
Out of your
that's
way.
really going to impress them. You go out of their way to impress somebody rather than, just texting.
So I'm I would probably side on the grand gestures because I'm a people person, right?
Yeah.
Like I love conversation, not so much texting. My closest friends
You're
will
a
tell
romantic.
you. That's right. I'm a romantic. I'm a true romantic at heart. My true friends will tell you I'm not a big texter. I really don't. I would rather, if I had to text or figure something out, I'd rather do it in person, number one, or number two, pick up the phone and do it. I would much rather prefer some sort of gesture rather than the texting. That's just kind of my personality.
But that right there, Cole, is why you're still a single man, because women today, they don't want those grand gestures. It doesn't make any sense like it used to be. Like, what movie is that where John Cusack is holding up a boombox outside of the girl's window? That would be like the creepiest thing ever.
See, I've already had
a young woman now.
I've already got a friend says you suck at texting. That just sent that in.
I am so glad I'm not a single guy, because if you want to advance in the dating world nowadays, like you got to almost stay away from them as long as possible, because like nobody wants to actually be in the same room as each other anymore. You got to go through this long back and forth of text messages if you want to advance in this relationship. Because if you shoot that shot, Cole, they're going to think and do the grand gesture. They're going to think, oh, he's thirsty. Oh, he's
thirsty.
Creepy. Oh, he's
that.
this. Oh, he's that. You got to be smart here. If you want to advance to the next stage, you almost got to do the Paula Abdul thing. You got to do 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
There you go.
There you go. And finally, round number 3.
Final round. Fight.
Now, if you're on the fence, if you've given 1 vote to Cole and 1 vote to me, well, this one is going to break the tie. If you go to a restaurant, Cole, and you order the sweet tea, or you pour yourself some sweet tea, are you drinking it straight up the way they make it, or are you cutting it a little bit with something else?
And when you say cut, just to be clear, you mean
tea,
knocking that sweet
knocking
off
that
a
sugar
little bit.
down. Some people like to do the lemonade thing and making an Arnold Palmer.
Yeah. Okay, so this was a fantastic question. Diesel, the only thing I've ever done is the opposite of cut it, right?
You
and
add
that's
more sugar?
Splenda, boost it.
What?
I guess it's just the southern part of me. I love sweet. I am a complainer about sweet tea. If I drink it and it's not sweet enough, I will let you know. I have never, ever, ever one time cut sweet tea because there's no such thing as too sweet of tea.
Wow. So I grew up in a house that was exactly like that. I mean, we might have put 2 cups of sugar into a pitcher of sweet tea, and it was ridiculous. I can't drink it that way anymore, man. It's like that mouth smacking over sweet.
So good.
Like I'm at the point, Cole, where I had lunch earlier at the restaurant next door to the radio station. I was at 75% unsweet tea, 25% sweet tea. And it used to be the other way. It was 75% sweet, 25% then it was 50-50. Now it's 75% unsweet tea. Like, I don't know who's making these recipes. I don't know who's mixing up the sweet tea at all these restaurants.
I think.
It's just too much, man. It is diabetes in a glass. Come on. I got to cut my sweet tea at too many of these restaurants. It's not good anymore. You've gone too far. So there you go. That's our 5 o'clock fight round one. To recap, 70% of Americans need vision correction. Would you be more inclined to go glasses like me or contacts like Cole? I go glasses. Obviously, he goes contacts. Round two, if you were a single guy, would you pursue a woman with grand gestures or would you keep it small scale with text messages? Cole is the romantic. He's going big. I'm going small. And then round three, when you go to a restaurant and you drink tea, do you drink the sweet tea straight up the way they make it? Or do you have to cut it with some unsweet tea because it's just gone too sweet? Cole, he actually adds more. That psychopath. I cut it. Who wins each round of the fight? You tell us by texting 71307. Start your text with keyword fan or messaging in on the stream. And while you're doing that, the voiceover guy is going to tell you how you could suggest a 5 o'clock fight.
What do you want Diesel and Cole Bryson to fight about next?
If you've got an ass, I'll kick it.
Submit your topics to Diesel at thefanupstate.com. Subject line fight on the Fan Upstate.
And reminder, Mantis, you got in and you inspired a 5 o'clock fight for tomorrow. I'm not going to reveal what it is yet, but I need a couple of minutes. We'll give you a couple seconds to start getting your votes in on the text line and on the stream. 71307. Start your text with keyword fan.
So I'll tell you what I've been doing lately, trying to be healthy, right? Two things. Somebody mentioned the Arnold Palmer with the lemonade. Chick-fil-A diet lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot tell it's any different than the normal lemonade.
Really?
Had one today. It's freaking fantastic. But on the sweet tea front, if you want to be healthy, you get the unsweet tea, right? I say healthy, healthier. Okay? You get the unsweet tea, but you mix in the Splenda packets. Splenda's no sugar, so you're avoiding the sugar. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, the sweetener's not good for you." Well, it's not sugar.
It's worse for you.
Well, it's still not sugar, so it makes you feel better about yourself because
it's all processed. I mean, sugar is not natural; it's processed too.
So I sometimes do that. I sometimes will add a little Splenda, but I've never in my life thought, man, and I really tried to think about this. I've never one time thought, man, this tea is too sweet for me.
Oh, God, I can't do it, man.
We should do, I think there's a lot of good ones out there, but there's, and again, not to give away free advertising, some of the fast food restaurants have the best sweet tea. They really do. I guess they just dump a bunch
They
of
just
sugar.
keep dumping more and more sugar in it.
There's somebody whose full-time job is to do this.
You know how they've changed the flavors of Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper over the years. They've added more of this, more of that flavor. And it's like, it didn't go from its like old original form to where it is now, just like that. I mean, they just added a little bit more and then a little bit more and then a little bit more. And it's so oversweet. I can't touch it anymore. I can't drink sodas anymore. Sweet tea, I'm down to like 25% sweet.
Let me just say this. Before we get to these votes, I am majorly disappointed in anybody that sides with Diesel round three. Like, what's wrong with sweet tea? I'm talking about real sweet tea. Come on.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to prove to restaurant owners, those of you restaurant owner Tolos who are listening to the show, I'm trying to teach you something here. I'm trying to teach you to back off on the sugar a little bit. Let people add to it if they want to, but you should be making it with a lot less sugar.
God, there's nothing worse for me.
Have you gone to a Walmart? Have you gone anywhere in public nowadays? We are a fat country.
Oh, there's no doubt. That's why I try to lose weight.
I
agree with you. I just hate ordering a sweet tea and it not being sweet enough. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad punishment. All right, let's see.
Yeah, the text line is absolutely buzzing right now with these votes. So let's just get to Madcraft. He's the one who voted on the stream, and then we'll jump over to the other side. He says, I don't have eye issues yet, but Diesel wins round one. So Madcraft, when you need him, you're going specs. Okay, right on. Cole wins round two. You got to risk it for the biscuit. And he says, Diesel wins round three. He says, man, that sweet tea is too damn sweet. And then Bob says there's no such thing as too sweet a tea. He says that's pure blasphemy.
It is. It really is. It's blasphemy, I tell you. Texter from the 238 says, cutting it with lemonade, Arnold Palmer, babe. I hate to be this guy, but tea and lemonade's overrated. They're made to go separate, but not together.
I ordered a half and half the other day at Chick-fil-A, and they gave me an Arnold Palmer by accident. Like I asked for 50% sweet tea, 50% unsweet tea, and they gave me 50% lemonade. Oh,
I don't like them.
It's not what I expected, you know?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
If I knew that's what I was getting, I would have been okay, but I didn't know, and it just hit me like, oh God, this tea is spoiled. It's gone bad. What's happening?
Tea is spoiled. Texter from the 491 says round one was a push because it doesn't apply to me, but Cole wins the rest. 593 says 2 cups. Oh, this is Amazon guy. Amazon guy says 2 cups is a bare minimum. Hey, Amazon guy, what's going to happen? I meant to ask you this the other day, but I forgot. By the way, we appreciate you texting in to the show as much as you do. What's going to happen when another Amazon guy starts listening and becoming a Tolo? Is it going to be Amazon guy 1, Amazon guy 2?
AG1, AG2?
Are y'all going to fight about it over who's the Amazon guy 1?
Where's our UPS drivers? Can we get a UPS Amazon fight in the comment section?
I want a threesome. Amazon.
DHL has entered the chat.
I want Amazon, FedEx, and UPS all in the chat, all on the text line. That's what I want.
I feel like we're headed for Anchorman, where all the news teams fight on the street. USPS is coming in with their ugly ass trucks.
The brown baby. G says Diesel win 1 and 3. Cole wins 2. So you got the win. G says I have readers to read on the phone. Texter from the 486. Round 1 Diesel. Round 2 Diesel. What the heck? Round 3 Cole by a country mile. You didn't get the sweep, but I at least got. Well, you did get the sweep from the 593. 593 says sweep Diesel. Bo asked the question, Diesel. What happens when you are walking down the street and your prescription runs out?
Is this a joke?
You
better go catch it. Is that what he's going to say?
I don't know. What happened? He asked specifically to you, Diesel. What happens when you are walking down the street and your prescription runs out? I don't know. Is that a joke?
This sounds like a setup for a joke.
I think it's. You're supposed to say what?
What? What happens? What happens?
All right, Bo, let us know. Let's see.
Texter says, you just lost the fight because of the transition lenses take. My transitions broke, and they are just added convenience.
Oh, I missed that one. Where did you? I missed that text. Thank you for.
That's way back. That's way back.
Oh, wow. I did not start anywhere near the front, did I?
Texter follows up and says, if transitions are so nerdy, so are glasses in general, you four-eyed freak.
My bad. I missed a bunch of text messages. Texter says, I know 7 people who had laser eyes, specifically 7, he counts. All of them say it's the best decision they ever made. 4 of them are welders who need that precision. I get it. I mean, for most people it works. I've just heard too much. Yeah,
this has been weird for me because now I didn't realize that my vision was this bad, right?
Yeah.
And now that I'm seeing and like everything is clear and high def, it just looks really odd to me. Like 39 and a half years of dealing with the vision that I had. Now I can actually see clearly. Like this is what it's supposed to look like. Now the stigma's gone.
431 back to round 2 says women are like cats. Let me actually read before I say what's on this text.
Yeah,
I don't do a good job of that.
You may want to read through all of this before you completely
That's what I usually
piss off 100% of our lady listeners.
I usually just read it, but let's see. The more I think we're good. The more you try to love them, the more they'll try to scratch. The more they'll try to scratch you. You just gotta let them know you can feed them and wait for them to choose you. What a text. Is that the best text? No, I can't say best because the women, Tiger Pal Rachel will get mad at me. I'm not being, I just read the text.
Well, if the texter had started women are like dogs, I'd be like, Cole, don't finish that.
That's right.
Don't finish that. Make a smart decision.
Yeah, I don't do a good job of reading before, like reading down the text. I usually just read it as you can tell if you're listening on the radio. I just read it as I go. Sometimes I have had to hit the dump button one time because of that, Diesel. Amazon guy says, I'll always be the OG Amazon guy. I like it. Well, right now you are, because number one, there's no other Amazon guys. If they're out there listening, there's none of them that participate like you do. No UPS drivers or FedEx drivers that I can think of. We do have a couple of truck drivers every now and then that text into the show, Diesel. But you're the OG Amazon guy, without a doubt. Texter, I think an issue with restaurant owners making tea less sweet and letting people put their own sugar in it. Bulk sugar is cheaper than the little sugar packets. Is it? Wow, maybe it is.
But then you got to make more unsweet tea to cut it down for wusses like me who can't drink it full strength. I can't drink at high test the way you people do.
Non-ethanol is what Diesel wants.
Exactly.
Right?
I want 87 octane. Y'all are up there running jet fuel.
It's good stuff.
You know, like y'all treat sweet tea like it's the final boss battle of a video game.
It is. Like, it's exactly what
it is. Make it so OP that nobody wants it.
It's exactly what it is. Chuck Johnson chimes in. Diesel had round one, but lost it with the sweet tea comment, so Cole gets the sweep. Chuck says, I'm taking it back.
Oh, Chuck.
Taking it back. All right, coming up next, we meant to get to this yesterday, but we had to put it off to today. What SEC football coaches, in our opinion, are on the hot seat in 2024? We'll talk about it next. All right, Diesel, it's that time of year. It's July. It's talking season, as the head ball coach liked to say, right? It's that talking season where we're about a month and a half away from football, but we have to analyze. We have to do some analyzing of the SEC coaches. Yes, we'll get to the ACC coaches down the road, but right now we do the SEC coaches hot seats. Is your butt hot right now? Well, I hope not.
It's a little sore because this chair is uncomfortable, but
don't get me started on that. But if your butt's hot, probably not a good thing. I do want to get your thoughts. 71307. That's the way you can text the show. Start your text with the word fan. Also live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, on what SEC coach you think is on the hot seat more than any of them. And I want to start with the coach that you brought to the table the other day, Diesel, in the 5 o'clock fight. We asked the question, what conference would have a coach fired first? You went SEC, and the name of the coach you gave was Mr. Sam Pittman at Arkansas. That is Dennis Dodd's of CBS Sports. That's also his number one hot butt at the moment.
Yeah, he is a man of the people when it comes to Arkansas football. Nobody can deny that. I think he is the right person for the job. His personality, his style, everything about him screams Arkansas Razorbacks.
Yeah.
Just the success has been there. That's a fan base that remembers winning. God, I remember when Arkansas, in the 90s would pop up and be really, really good. And they will pop up every now and again and have a great year or two. And then they will fall so far back.
It's true. They used to be good. And that's what Dennis Dodd says. And I completely agree with you too that, he's a great guy. If you want to sit around, shoot the bull, have a beer, Pittman's your guy. But this coach, 4-8 last year, that just doesn't cut it, right? Not at Arkansas. At South Carolina, it's probably a very similar situation in my opinion, but that tied last year the program's worst record at Arkansas since 2013. The last coach, Bobby Petrino, that was the last guy who won at Arkansas, right? So I believe there's a general consensus of this guy, Sam Pittman. He seems like a fantastic coach. Everybody loves Sam Pittman from the people that you talk to, but it's kind of put up or shut up. It's kind of do or die, now or never for the Razorbacks. If we take Sam Pittman, if we take old Sam off the list, I want to know, Diesel, between guys like Billy Napier, I don't know if Clark Lee at Vanderbilt counts or not, right? They suck, and they're supposed to suck. But would you say Billy Napier's the next hot seat in the SEC, or would you have somebody else that you would argue there?
I think Billy Napier, he took over such a horrible situation.
Yeah.
At Florida, that's going to be, you got to be a really special kind of coach to dig out of the hole that he found himself in Florida. First of all, you're in a deep hole, but the problem is you've got a fan base that expects you to be able to come out of it like that because they feel like, oh, we're Florida.
That's right.
We used to be great. We can be great immediately with the right guy. And they're going to be one of those really twitchy fan bases, one of those ones that's super quick on the trigger, and they're becoming twitchier by the day. I thought South Carolina fans were twitchy. No. South Carolina fans are as patient as it gets compared to Billy Napier.
So Napier enters his third season in Gainesville with an 11-14 record. He performed well at Louisiana.
Yep.
Won 66% of his games, but 44% at Florida. Diesel, that could be labeled malpractice. Got some good wins in the very first season, but in 2023, his only really good win was over Tennessee, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Their schedule in 2024 is brutal. But he's got to win some of those games. I'm not saying he has to beat LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State, and Georgia, and Texas, but he's got to win one or two of them.
So
right?
So what you're telling me is he's got to do the impossible. He's got to complete the Kobayashi Maru, which if you're a Star Trek fan, which I'm not, I only saw one movie, and that's the reason why I know this. The only way to beat the Kobayashi Maru is to cheat.
Billy Bob.
He's going to have to.
Speaking of Billy Napier, Billy Bob chimes in on the text line and says, how about the hire Shane made? The best recruiter in college football coming to Columbia. Spelt coming wrong. Go Gamecocks.
Ew.
Yeah, that's we're not going to go there.
Ew.
I'm not even reading that next text, Billy Bob. Not doing it. Here's a fun question. Rapid fire. Let's see how quick our Tolos can text. Get those. You text are you a thumb texter? Most people are. Are you good?
I do a little bit. I do a little thumb. I do a little finger with like the little swipe thing, and I do a lot of voice to text.
Okay, I have noticed that. So rapid fire text right now, 71307. Start your text with the word fan. Get them ready. I have a rapid fire question for the stream as well. Hotter seat. Napier. You can just type Napier, fan Napier, or Beamer, fan Beamer. Go. 71307. Start your text with the word fan.
That's not even close.
See, I think it's closer than people think.
That's not even close. There's still a huge contingency of Gamecock fans that love Shane Beamer because of his personality and because
I don't know.
I think that's wearing off quick. And I brought it up to Kelly Ford earlier. Anything less than 6 wins, another losing season, and I think most of that goes away. But I think Shane Beamer is going to get this year with still a majority of that benefit of the doubt intact. But if he can't win minimum 6 games, Shane Beamer's seat is going to be the same temperature as Billy Napier's is right now. Billy Napier's seat is as hot as it gets. He has had the burners on full blast. He has had the lid closed, and that grill cover is glowing red.
I hear what you're saying, but if I'm a South Carolina fan and I look at what Napier did at Louisiana, yes, Florida's a different program. It's a different situation. There's no doubt if I'm a South Carolina Gamecock fan that I'm sitting here thinking, you know what? Napier's probably a better coach than Beamer. Napier has a tougher schedule. Yeah, is he on the hot seat? Yeah, he's on the hot seat, but he beat Tennessee last year. Beamer beat Tennessee 2 years ago. Maybe that equals out. I don't know that I would say it's a little bit closer. I just don't know that the ones that loved Beamer, I don't know that they still have that love for Beamer like they used to.
What's really fascinating about Dennis Dodd's article here on CBSSports.com is he's got 27 coaches, Cole, listed in the categories of pressure mounting or hotter, which blows me away because I feel like there's a lot of those coaches. I don't know that we're going to see 27 coaches fired this offseason, but we're certainly going to see 12, 13, 14 of them. And I think there's a couple of guys who may currently be sitting in the all good for now group or the pressure is mounting group. They're going to find themselves fired. You know, one bad season can really take this thing downhill fast.
I'm with you, but I just don't know, man. I'll get to a few of these texts. I just don't know that it should be as big of a difference or a stretch between Napier and Beamer. I like Napier. I really do. Texter Bullwinkle says Napier. Texter from the 315 says Beamer. Texter 486 says Napier because Ray Tanner is complacent. Trey in Kentucky says, there once was a coach at Kentucky. He thought that his team was so lucky. He failed to recruit, and he got no new loot. And no, with his seat looks really yucky.
I was going to say this might be one of those ones you want to read in advance before you read it on the air.
What in the world, Trey in Kentucky? I like that though.
Madcraft, you're onto something here. He says if Miami beats them, he might lose his job sooner than later. Yeah, if Miami curb stomps Florida August 31st, week 1 of the season. I'm not sure Billy Napier makes it to week 6. I really don't. I don't think he's not going to get fired after week 1. That's ludicrous. But he's got Miami week 1, Samford, not Stanford, Samford, the Bulldogs, week 2, and then week 3 is when it starts getting tough. You got A&M coming in. You go on the road to Mississippi State. That should be a relatively easy win, but you could be sitting at 2-2. You play UCF. That's a win. We're talking about this from the Florida perspective.
Sure.
And then you rattle off a series of really tough games. Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State to end the season.
The only devil's advocate I'd play here is Diesel. The only thing I'd push back on, what coach in America could go into Florida situation right now and do something different this year than what Billy Napier did?
Honestly, they're going to need, Jesus to put on a headset. That's their only hope.
It's unbelievable,
they're
man.
They're going to need Obi-Wan Kenobi to come in and do this.
It's brutal.
And it's tough.
Bullwinkle says, heck, Carolina's waiting on Napier to be fired before they warm Beamer's seat. The way they like old Florida coaches. Surely not, right? Bullwinkle, surely not. But you never know.
Yeah, Billy Napier is going to be a tough sell. He needs to go into a program to be the most successful version he can be, a program that's already a 7 or 8 win program, and can keep it going. I don't know that he's one of those guys with his personality being as stern as he is. I don't think he's the kind of coach to bring any program out of the brink, especially when you got to do it with positivity these days. You can't do it by being that hard-nosed coach. Yeah, fans back in the day used to love that hard-nosed coach. Not anymore.
Mantis says Beamer has to go 6-6 this year at minimum. Otherwise, he's got 2025 and he's out. The Usher hire is huge. Appreciate that, Mantis. All right, Diesel, are we going AI next? Is that where we're headed?
That's true. AI, when we come back, Cole, I want to ask you, Tolos, if there's any one part of your job that could be replaced by AI and you would love it, what would that be? That's coming up next in the Fan Upstate. And I don't know what scares the people who listen to our sister station, WORD 98.9 more. Electric cars or AI? Because I think both of those things scare the crap out of them.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
question.
And, you see all these memes all the time about AI. Like one of my favorite ones said AI was supposed to do our laundry and our dishes for us so that we had more time to pursue higher forms of work, not do our higher forms of work for us so that we had nowhere to go. We just sit at home and do laundry and dishes all the time.
Right.
It's true, though. It's
Yeah.
true, though. I mean, like in almost every industry, AI is making its way in. There's really no way to avoid it. I mean, we all grew up watching Terminator. We've all heard dozens and dozens and dozens of experts over the past couple of years since AI really started to become a thing speak out and say, this is going to be really detrimental to our economy and to our people, right? Because people are going to lose their jobs to AI. But then again, that's been happening for decades, right? Like, remember when they first started implementing robots on the assembly lines at car manufacturing plants? Well, that's been that was AI in a way. But Cole, Dee Snider, I don't know if you know who Dee Snider is. He's the lead singer of Twisted Sister.
Never heard of him.
You never heard of Twisted Sister?
Nope.
We're not gonna take it.
I've heard that song.
No, we ain't gonna take it. Well, that guy, Dee Snider, went on Fox Business News to talk about the threat of AI. He said, well, I'm a front man. I've got that spark that really can't be replicated. This is not a quote, okay? I'm paraphrasing. He's like, I got that spark that can't be replicated by AI. But the songwriting, the lyric writing, etc., AI can do all of that. As a matter of fact, we have an example of AI doing that, singing a Randy Travis song for us. We played a clip of that a couple of weeks ago
It's
on
loading.
the show.
Just give me 1 second.
Okay,
I had
it's
to
loading.
re-download it.
Okay.
So I'll have it
it's
just a second.
scary how good it sounds. In a sense, like, you expect hearing AI singing and you expect it to sound obviously AI. But like we always talk about how fast AI learns and gets better and better and better to the point where all you got to do is find the right program and say, hey, read me this sentence or sing me this lyric in the style of Randy Travis, and it'll spit out a really accurate Randy Travis.
It's scary.
AI impersonation. But actually, I found this out, Cole. In Tennessee, they have passed what they call the Elvis Act, which protects an artist's voice likeness. So a record company, I don't know who's like Randy Travis's record company was, they can't essentially go out and create new Randy Travis songs without Randy Travis's people getting money off of it.
Yeah. So it's ready whenever you're ready.
So let's hear that for a second.
AI Randy Travis.
When she smiled.
So there's no like obvious AI, like, the little catches in the vocals.
No.
When we did it on our phones, it's obviously AI because, well, it's not super, super sophisticated. But I wonder from you, Cole, because this is a fast-paced breakneck business where we're all doing a lot of different people's jobs. We're all wearing multiple hats. What part of radio would we love to give up to AI if we could? And you Tolos, whatever profession it is that you do, what part of your job would you love to give up to AI if you could?
Jeez. That's a great one.
Yeah.
AI is already so heavy in radio in terms of promotions and imaging and all kind of different voice scripts. You already hear so much AI.
Our boss has played us like little test bits, test bits of here's an AI voice actor. It's not a real person saying a line that I don't know if this stuff gets used on any of our promos or not, but it sounds solid. It sounds really good.
I'll tell you this. I want to be able to hear, and again, I know that me wanting to hear this is not good because it's going to lead to, I watched a TV show where AI was really it was a crime show, and they thought one guy committed the crime because of AI. So it's going scary places. My point is, though, I want to be able to hear my own voice without it sounding like it did on those phones, the phone apps that we use.
So what you're saying is you would love to be able to essentially prep a segment, have some bullet points, some ideas, some topics, where you want this to go, and you want it to essentially fill in the gaps and read it as Cole Bryson.
I tell you what, now that I think about it, I would rather it be like the promos. So like the Ingles reads that we do, the sports spins that air on the other stations. Yeah. That's where I think I would enjoy it more, because you could type in what you wanted to say and bam, there it goes.
And it just does it all for you.
It doesn't.
See, that's moving the direction that I want to go. I would love for AI to do our show prep for us. Like people don't realize just how much work it takes to prep a show, right? And to have, when we say the, national champions of the last 5 years had X point differential, we're not just making this number up off the top of our heads. We don't know these numbers off the top of our heads. We have to go back and research it, and that takes time, right? So what if AI could do that for you? If you could input the categories of sports topics like Clemson football, South Carolina baseball, etc. We could put them into essentially an algorithm, tell it how much of it we want to talk about, and give it a general sense of which tonal direction we want it to go.
Be scary.
And have it essentially do all the prep work for us, all the stuff that researchers who are on national shows do for their shows. I would love to have all the legwork done, and then you and I just come in and we make a show out of it.
Make a show out of it.
Make a show out of it.
Be something else, wouldn't it? It really would.
God, that would be great.
All right. I teased this on X, on Twitter, whatever you call it, earlier today. At the Cole Bryson, I put on Twitter, we will do a NFL division preview and prediction next. We'll do one a week for the next 8 weeks that will lead us all the way up until the NFL season. We start with the AFC East. If your team's in the East, get ready. We're coming to you next. You know, Diesel, not often do I disagree with Las Vegas because Las Vegas was built on idiots like me who think they know better, right? However, I do disagree with Las Vegas as I want to bring to the table the AFC East.
How many sports cars do you have, Cole?
That'd be 0. That would be 0. But again, I'm telling you, I'm going to be right here, okay? I'm going to be right on my AFC prediction. We're going to do one a week until the NFC or the NFL season gets here 8 weeks from now. But the AFC East, Las Vegas has the Buffalo Bills at 150 to win the AFC East. Diesel, the Bills have won the division 4 years in a row. The Jets, the Dolphins, and the Patriots are their contenders, and 2 of those could be labeled as pretenders instead of contenders, right?
You don't think Drake May is going to come in and fix everything?
I tell you what, I hope so. I'm pulling for Drake May. I really am. I don't want Aaron Rodgers to do it, but here's the AFC odds for 2024. Buffalo plus 155, Miami 175, New York Jets plus 240, and New England Patriots plus 1,800. Those are the Vegas odds for the 2024 division winner and the AFC East. Diesel, I'm here to tell you today that right now I disagree. The Miami Dolphins are my prediction to win the AFC East this season. They're due. The Bills lost Gabe Davis at receiver. They constantly choke year after year. Sean McDermott fails to get it done, and I just have no faith that McDermott and this team can get over the hump, and I think they even take a step back this year. The Miami Dolphins, I like them a lot.
Yeah.
Tua's a fantastic quarterback, and he struggled last year to beat good teams, but I think that this year they overcome that obstacle.
Yeah, I think, it's clear to me that dead last in the division is going to be the Jets because Aaron Rodgers is out there running around on some Dollar Tree rubber bands for his legs.
Yeah.
One of them is going to snap again. Like, those ones that you stretch out one time, they don't stretch very far, and they immediately snap because there's no actual, spring back to them.
Yeah.
That's Aaron Rodgers and his Achilles tendon. I think Drake May is going to do well in New England. Do I think he's going to be a world beater? No. Do I think he's going to get them back to Super Bowl contention while a Patriot? Probably not. Probably not. I think he is a playoff caliber quarterback within a couple of years because that franchise and that roster is so far down right now. They're going to need some help.
And they got a new coach, right?
Yeah, it's going to take some time to get back there, but I do believe Drake May is a winner. I've watched that guy play in person, and man, he's one of those dudes who will make just some mind-blowing throws. He's sort of that next-gen type of quarterback, and I think he could be fairly successful in the NFL. Do I think he's going to be better than Tua? No. Do I think he's going to be better than Josh? No. So I think by the end of the season, we're going to see Jets 4, Patriots 3, and this is where it gets really iffy. Bills feel like that franchise to me, Cole, that have had every opportunity to grab a hold of this division and claim it for themselves, but just can't do it. Like, they're just not made for it. So I think the Bills fade a little bit this season, and I think Tua finally ascends to where we think he can be, which is a shocker, coming off of all those head injuries that he had, where he smacked his head against the field. What was that, 2 seasons ago? Was that the beginning of the 2022 season? Yep. And then the follow-up injury, I was thinking, man, this dude's career is about to be over. Like, I think I even suggested on this station, Tua needs to go ahead and hang it up. Like, dude, you're rich. You're rich. Go be rich and go have all your faculties and enjoy living life with your wife and your kids and live the good life. But that's not what competitors do. But I do think ultimately this Dolphins team is gonna inch past the Bills. If you'd asked me last year, it's 1A, 1B, Bills, Dolphins. Now I think it's 1A, 1B, Dolphins, Bills.
What's interesting is both Buffalo and Miami Diesel lost a good amount in free agency. Dolphins, they lost Christian Wilkins, Jerome Baker, Andrew Van Ginkel, all big losses for them, right? You talk about Buffalo. You lose Gabe Davis, who I mentioned earlier. You lost center Mitch Morse. Micah Hyde, gone. Stephon Diggs, gone to the Texans. You lose Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. Yeah, Gabe Davis has hurt a lot. Stephon Diggs is very, very good. But those are two major losses. Meanwhile, the Jets have kind of flown under the radar a little bit in free agency, Diesel. Tyrod Taylor's backing up Aaron Rodgers this year. Javon Kinlaw arrives on the scene. He's partnering with Quinnen Williams. The Jets are going to be good. And this is where I think this division becomes interesting. The Jets, in my opinion, could very easily fight for that second spot. However, I don't have enough courage to put them in second. I, as well as you, think Miami can take that next step this year. Buffalo, I like them to finish second, right behind Miami. And then I have the Jets 3, Patriots 4. But what's interesting is if, and this is a big if, but I'm going to ask this question. If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, if we get to see the old Aaron Rodgers that we saw in Green Bay, if the Jets can somehow piece this together, when you look at the odds, plus 240, it's a good price. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when healthy, right? We haven't seen Aaron Rodgers be the best quarterback in New York yet, but we know who he was in Green Bay. He only played like 6 seconds last year. But I'm just saying, if they can stay healthy, maybe the Jets are a sleeper. Maybe they're the dark horse that at plus 240 is a really good price.
The Jets are not going to finish better than third place in that division. It's not going to happen. Aaron Rodgers' attitude will not let that happen.
Really?
Not going to let it happen. I mean, this is the dude who says things like, we got to eliminate all the distractions. We have to focus in. We have to be in the pocket. And then he doesn't show up for the first day of training camp. And I know you guys are saying, oh, well, he had permission. No, he didn't. It was marked down as an inexcused absence, and he just didn't show up. Like, when are you guys going to stop standing for this guy? When are you going to stop supporting everything this guy does? He is the reason why the Packers sucked. And he is the reason the Jets are going to suck, because he's just not right in the head.
I like Aaron Rodgers, the player. I dislike Aaron Rodgers, the person, right? What I've seen from Aaron Rodgers at times when he was a Green Bay Packer, and I saw a lot of them because he beat my Cowboys a lot, but the glimpses and flashes of greatness that I saw from Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay were as good as any glimpse and flash of any elite quarterback I've ever seen. And I don't think Rodgers is still that same quarterback, but if he can just be enough. Their defense is good. The Jets' defense last year ranked 3rd in defensive DVOA after facing the 15th hardest set of opposing offenses, which is pretty good. That comes a season after sitting 6th. So they went from 6th to 3rd. They were really good last year. New York sat 6th in 2023 in terms of adjusted games lost due to injury. They were injury plague last year. They just could not escape the injury bug. And the guy at quarterback last year, after Aaron Rodgers went down, and Zach Wilson, nobody really trusts yet. So again, I don't want it to happen. I don't think it will, but there is something in the back of my mind that thinks, man, if he can just be enough, if he can be a really good game manager, plus still make some incredible throws from time to time, these Jets, they might be sneaky. I don't want it to happen, but I think they could.
I picture Aaron Rodgers sitting in the Jets locker room with a locker not dissimilar from Pedro Serrano's in Major League, where he's got a little statue of some deity that's not a Christian deity. And I'm not making this a religious thing. I'm just making a joke here. Okay. He's going to have some, freaky Buddha statue with some sort of like special jelly you got to rub on its belly once a day to make it happy, so that your girlfriend whose name is a color is happy, so that then your aura changes to the right shade of pink, and then you can go out there and decide to be successful today. Like,
I don't know where that is, but
Yeah.
never been there before.
yeah, Aaron's a weird guy, man, and I think he's gone farther and farther and farther out. We've got a promo that's running. I'm not going to take any credit for this, but we've got a promo running where Aaron Rodgers feels like he is the smartest man in the room in every room he goes into, even when the most controversial topics facing this country are brought up. And I don't trust anyone. I don't have any trust for anyone who believes they are that guy.
I don't have a ton of it. I just think that at the end of the day, having a guy like that on the team who is as elite as he is at the quarterback position, I think that's where you have to maybe put a little bit of value. Again, I don't love the Jets plus 240, but if I had to take a value pick when looking at the rest of the divisions, and we're going to get to the rest of them in the next few weeks, but plus 240, I mean, to go with Aaron Rodgers, that's not a bad value bet. The New England Patriots plus 1,800 really have no desire to even touch that. To your point, Gerard Mayo, I think I like him as a head coach. We don't know what he does yet. We haven't seen him coach a game yet, but I like what he's done in the offseason. I like his demeanor. He says the right things. And to your point earlier, I love their quarterback. I'm pulling for their quarterback. I just don't know that Gerard Mayo is the right answer.
Madcraft asked the question, would you rather spend a day on a boat with Jerry Jones or Aaron Rodgers?
Well, that's not even a question.
That's not even a question. It's Jerry Jones.
Can you imagine the stories? If you got old Jerry a little, what's the right word? If you got him a little bit,
a little tipsy, a little drunky,
just a little.
I would throw Aaron Rodgers overboard if I could. Who tells the story? Somebody tells the story around here. Was it? And I don't think it's you. I think it might be Rob who tells the story about being in an elevator with Jerry Jones, and Jerry tried to sell him season tickets to the Cowboys. And he's like, first of all, I don't live in Dallas. And second of all, I'm not a Cowboys fan. That didn't slow Jerry Jones down one bit, trying to sell him season tickets.
That's what he is.
Like, I think
salesman.
I think that would be really fun to try to go toe to toe with Jerry Jones mentally.
Yeah. Be something else.
I think it'd be a blast. When we come back, Cole,
I do want to get Madcraft's answer on the stream. He did say Miami was his pick as well.
He also asked, what if you had to constantly rebait Jerry's hook?
God.
You think Jerry Jones would touch a worm?
I think so.
Yeah? You think he's a down-ass dude?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think so.
He'd probably teach you a thing or two about fishing. Okay, when we come back, we had a fantastic conversation earlier with Kelly Ford of K Ford Ratings. Our first time bringing him on this particular show, Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. We talk all things analytics, college football, the numbers guru, coming up next on the Fan Upstate.
and high humidity will produce dangerous conditions, especially for those who are sensitive to heat, especially children and the elderly. In order to prevent heat sickness and heat stroke, take steps to keep cool. Drink plenty of water, stay in the shade as much as possible, and if you must be outside, take occasional breaks in an air-conditioned building to cool down. Watch out for the warning signs of heat stroke, including dizziness, nausea, headache, and disorientation. A heat advisory continues until 8 p.m. tonight. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Zucci here on the phone upstate.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Granger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Get 2 sausage and egg biscuits for $5. Order in the app or head to Bojangles today. It's bow time.
It's bow time. When mornings are hectic, your breakfast doesn't have to be. Head to Bojangles and grab 2 sausage and egg biscuits for just $5. Double the protein, double the flavor, all on our legendary made-from-scratch biscuits. Order in the app or head to Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Your morning dose of sports. It's the Rob Brown Show. Damian Priest, WWE World Heavyweight Champion, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
So you went from the Indies to NXT to now being on the main roster. Crowd size moves up, up, and up. What's that like, this transition from NXT to WrestleMania?
Man, yeah. When I started in the Indies, I mean, I performed in front of like 5 people for a hot dog and a handshake. You know? And then from there to go to NXT, and, you know, our TV studio setting was a few hundred people, and it was loud, and I was like, oh, man, I made it. And now I just finished winning the world title in front of more than 70,000 people live in Philadelphia. I mean, it's crazy, you know what I mean, to go from one end of the spectrum to the other. It's humbling, you know, to see how many people know who you are. It's just mind-blowing to me.
Don't hit snooze, hit play. The Rob Brown Show. Now morning 6 to 10 on the Fan.
The Fan Upstate.
Take control of your listening experience with Rewind on the Odyssey and miss the jaw-dropping moments? No worries.
The Odyssey app connectivity.
With Rewind, you can relive big moments from Rob Brown, Jim Rome, and
Wire to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel.
just hit Rewind with the Odyssey app on the Fan Upstate. Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Turn on, leave on.
Oh, we go to the phone lines. We bring in Kevin, longtime Tolo of the show. Kevin, what's your thoughts?
You can go to practice and practice hard, but you're really getting better once you get home. You get home, and when you're doing that underlying work that don't nobody see, and now you coming out, now you got 8 picks in a season, or you done got 12 touchdowns because you putting that work, but then, or you go and you get 1 catch all year, and then you want to blame it on the coaches because you didn't want to work. Now I'm a transfer 3 times in 4 years, and you never really get a camaraderie with nobody. So every year that you're there, you chasing money and you chasing playing time. But hey, what about chasing that work?
Man, great stuff there from Tolo, Kevin. We appreciate the call, brother.
Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson.
Turn on, leave on. Afternoons 3 to 7 on the Fan Upstate.
Coming up on tomorrow's edition of the Rob Brown Radio program, we take a look at the rest of the NFC South. We've broken down the biggest storyline impacting the 2024 Panthers season. What about the Falcons, Saints, and Buccaneers? We do that on tomorrow's edition of the show.
is Clemson, followed by Louisville, and then you get the Hurricanes, 5.4. So about a half game less projected wins in conference play for Miami than for Florida State and Clemson. Florida State is my highest power-rated team in the ACC at number 10 in the preseason version 2 numbers. Clemson's number 14. I've got Miami at number 17. I have 9-3 as the most likely record for the Hurricanes, a 29% chance to win 10 or more regular season games. So if you're asking for the most realistic expectation, I say anywhere between 8 and 10 wins. And if you want to make the playoff, I think you've got to get to at least 10, at least as an at-large. Of course, if you win the ACC, you've got the automatic berth. But to get to an at-large consideration, I think Miami fans should be hoping for 10 regular season wins.
Hey, Kelly, this is Cole. For me, as well as any new listeners we have on this show, Wire to Wire, can you go into a little bit of a refresher on what makes these K-Ford ratings?
Yeah, absolutely, Cole. And I'm excited to be here with you guys today for the first time. So what goes into my numbers in the preseason, which of course is where we are now, there's three main inputs, and that's your returning production. So how much of last year's team are you bringing back? I do incorporate transfers into that, and I have scalars or modifiers, if you will, to account for the varying levels of competition faced for transfers. We know that production at the Power 5 or now Power 4 level is not equal to production at the Group of 5 level, is not equal to production at the FCS level. So we try to use modifiers to scale that production to make an estimate for how much we can expect for the student athlete at their new school. So that's the biggest input, returning production. Also, what's your recent K-Ford rating history of the program? What was your power rating last year in 2023? How about 2022, 2021? And then finally, how well have you recruited in the recent years? So what's your high school recruiting look like this year, last year, 2 years ago? And guys, I've spent time this summer really tweaking the weights of those inputs because, as we all know, the way that rosters are constructed in college football in 2024 is much different than the way rosters were constructed 2, 3, 5, certainly more 10 years ago, right? So it used to be that you'd lose players to the NFL draft or to graduation and you'd replace them with high school talent. Well, now with the transfer portal, you can turn over a roster in 1 year. So your returning production probably matters a little bit more. Not probably, it does matter more now than it did recently, whereas your recent K-4 ratings, your high school recruiting, that matters a little bit less. It's still informative, still has predictive power, but it matters a little bit less. Once we get going into the season, I phase out the preseason component, and it gets replaced, of course, with a much more informative in-season data, and that's when we really know exactly what these teams are.
Kelly Ford joining us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryce. And Kelly, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I see that the checks coming out of Austin, Texas are still clearing. You got them number 4 on your preseason rankings. Your projections are really high on Texas, as they should be. Texas, very, very good football team, projected to be that way. But they're also just as down on Oklahoma, projecting just 4 conference wins as most likely scenario for them. Why is Oklahoma in such a bad spot in your preseason ratings?
So, you're absolutely right. I am right now projecting 4-4 as the most likely record for Oklahoma in SEC play. But what's really important to consider for all teams, but Oklahoma certainly is a team that's in this category, is not just your projected team strength. Because I actually have Oklahoma as the number 8 power-rated team in the country coming into this year as things currently stand. But Oklahoma plays the 6th most difficult schedule overall in the country. And more importantly to their SEC projections, it's the 3rd most difficult SEC conference slate. So basically, if we strip away all the non-conference games that anybody plays in the SEC and look just at that conference schedule, Oklahoma plays the 3rd most difficult conference schedule this year. And that's even considering the fact that Oklahoma misses Georgia. They miss Texas A&M. They miss Florida, who I have highly power-rated. So even missing those powerhouse teams, Oklahoma still has a very difficult conference schedule, and that's how you get to 4-4 in conference play as the most likely, 8-4 as the most likely record overall for the Sooners, even though this is a top 10 power-rated team. The schedule is just incredibly difficult, and you have to factor in, and this is something the model doesn't necessarily see, but what's the impact going to be of Oklahoma transitioning from the Big 12 to the SEC? No offense to the Big 12 or to any other Power 4 conference, but the SEC is a different animal, and Oklahoma used to be the big kid on the block every single week. That was Team Super Bowls. Now, you're just one of many really, really, really good teams, the Blue Blood program, but you're not the Super Bowl anymore. That could work to Oklahoma's advantage, but the week-in, week-out grind could work against Oklahoma even more pull him up here, the number 14 in the preseason for me. I have him number 20 on the offensive side. You talk about a lot of returning production on the offensive side of the ball, and we'll see if Dabo's able to adjust here and make things work. That number 20, that would be the highest that Clemson has been projected on the offensive side since the 2020 season. On defense, I'm projecting number 13. And yes, they're not bringing back as much on the defensive side as on the offensive side. So what we have to remember is that historically, especially in recent years, Clemson has been better on the defensive side of the ball. Last year, they finished number 10. 2 years ago was a down year by Clemson standards, finishing number 19 on defense. But prior to that, if you look at the CFP era, Clemson, prior to 2022, did not finish worse than ninth in the defensive side of the ball unit ranking in the CFP era. So this is a program that has a really rich history, especially in recent years on the defensive side. I'm expecting them to maybe take a little step back from number 10 last year to now number 13 this year, but I still think this is going to be a really good unit. And when you consider the relative strength of the ACC with respect to what Clemson's projecting as, that's how Clemson is still one of the top 2 teams in my ACC projections and a favorite to make it to Charlotte at the end of the year.
Talking ratings and analytics with Kelly Ford at K Ford Ratings on Twitter. Getting to 6 wins is going to be absolutely critical for Shane Beamer keeping his job at South Carolina. A 6-win season or less, probably not enough to get him fired this year, but certainly enough to put him squarely on the hot seat. Your projections for South Carolina, if I'm reading these correctly, essentially have them sitting at about 2.5 conference wins. What SEC games do you see as the most likely wins for South Carolina?
Yeah, so South Carolina is another team that has a really difficult schedule. From a power rating standpoint, I've got South Carolina number 38. That would be the best South Carolina team by my numbers since 2018, but it's the top 10 most difficult schedule in the country. So if we're looking at the SEC games in particular, let's see, out of the gate at Kentucky, that's a 38% chance to win. LSU is a 32% chance to win. Same with Ole Miss, 9% at Alabama, 14% at Oklahoma. Texas A&M is 37%. Then you get to Vanderbilt with an 81% win expectancy before closing with Missouri at a 37% win expectancy. So there's only one SEC game this year, that's Vanderbilt, with a win expectancy of greater than 50% for South Carolina. So in any individual game right now outside of Vanderbilt, my model would put South Carolina as the underdog. However, we know that they're going to win some of these games in which they're projecting as an underdog. That's how you get the 2.8 wins on average in conference. 3 and 5 is the most likely outcome right now for me in my projections of South Carolina. A 62% chance to reach that 6-win threshold overall and go bowling. A 12% chance to get to 8 and 4. So yeah, this is a big year for Shane Beamer. It's a tough schedule. I think it's a good South Carolina team, especially by the standards of recent years. But it might be difficult to stack wins just because that schedule's so tough.
Kelly, I'm intrigued on the projected SEC standings, really the top 3, with Georgia, Texas, and Alabama. I mean, I see on your website that you have Georgia at 6.5, Texas at 6.4, and Alabama at 5.5. How much, I guess, I know those numbers aren't far off, but how much could those 3, in your opinion, change the first few weeks of the season?
Yeah, those right now are the 3 teams projecting to have the highest conference win total for me. And Texas is the one that kind of stands out there a little bit with regard to how do they get there. All of them are top 5 power rated teams for me. Georgia number 1, Texas number 4, Alabama number 5. But Georgia and Alabama facing very difficult schedules. Georgia's the number 2 most difficult schedule in the country. Alabama's number 9. Texas is number 19, which is still really tough, but relative to SEC standards, a little bit easier. For Texas, though, they have the weakest SEC conference slate in terms of projected difficulty. There is no SEC team by my numbers that has an easier conference slate than Texas. It's 16 out of 16. There's only one game this year that my numbers make Texas a projected underdog. That's against Georgia in Week 8 when the Bulldogs go to Austin. A 44% chance for Texas to win that game. So you're talking about changes early in the season. Georgia, they got Clemson right off the bat. My numbers give Georgia an 85% chance to win that game. So certainly it's possible that Clemson can win that, but my numbers do make Georgia a pretty heavy favorite. And then for Texas, of course, the Week 2 trip to Michigan, that's going to be a tough one. We're going to learn a lot about both Texas and Michigan in that game. And then for Alabama, they ease into their schedule a little bit more. Maybe a tricky trip to Wisconsin in Week 3, if you want to call it that. But in Week 5, Alabama post Georgia, of course, that's going to be an absolutely massive game, not just in the in the conference standings by my numbers.
You can tell that Kelly Ford is a pro because he didn't miss a beat when Cole and I both chuckled at that 85% chance for Georgia to beat Clemson there in week one. I want to bring us back up to the Tigers here. Are there any individual statistical indicators in your preseason production analytics that you feel do a particularly good job at predicting year-over-year on-field improvement at the quarterback position, specifically as it might apply to Cade Klubnik?
That's a good question. So not necessarily anything that I can talk about in terms of individual statistics that show the year-over-year growth or improvement. There are, of course, things that we're looking at with regard to production that a quarterback or any position unit is able to accrue over the course of a year. But really, I mean, quarterback is the most important position, in all of team sports, certainly in football. And so having a returning player of the caliber of Cade Klubnik, and I know we can have a debate about what that caliber is. The reality is he was very, very highly sought after coming out of high school. I think most people agree that his ceiling is very, very high. Is he going to be able in the Clemson offense to experience and achieve that high potential? That's the big question. And that's something that we've maybe seen some flashes, but we haven't seen consistently. And so can he achieve that this year in this system for an offense that is bringing back a lot of production, and he's certainly a part of that. So I'm not sure there's necessarily much I can go into on the individual statistics standpoint there, but Cade Klubnik for me, the way I think about Cade Klubnik is he has the potential, and this might be a hot take, and you're part of the country, I'm not sure, but he has the potential to be in the Heisman conversation this year. He plays quarterback, which is almost a prerequisite for the most part. So quarterback who is on a contending Power 4 team, who has very, very high upside, and if you look at the schedule, there's maybe 2 games that you're circling as Clemson will be an underdog in those games. Outside of that, they should be a favorite in each of those. So I think that's the type of player that Cade Klubnik could be. He could be in New York at the end of the year at the Heisman Trophy ceremony, or if he plays poorly, it's possible that Clemson only wins 8 games this year, which of course would be a major disappointment. So I think the jury's still out. I think there's a wide range of outcomes, but more times than not, as the model runs the simulation, I'm encouraged by what Cade Klubnik has shown and what his potential is.
Kelly, I like that answer a lot. I'm looking at your preseason top 30 right now. In your opinion, Kelly, which, by the way, I think it's pretty darn accurate. I don't have a ton of rebuttal, not a ton of pushback. But in your opinion, who's the team in the top 30 that could very quickly find themselves in the top 4? I know the playoff has expanded this season, but maybe somebody who's not in that top 5, top 10, they could find themselves quickly in the top 4, in your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, so from a ranking standpoint, I'm looking at Utah and Kansas State and Oklahoma State. I'm looking directly at the Big 12 because one of those teams out of the Big 12, just the way the playoff is structured now, is going to receive a top 4 seed in the CFP this year. I mean, more likely than not, 99.9% sure that's going to be the case. I'm looking at Utah at number 18, Kansas State at number 19, Oklahoma State at number 24, Arizona 25, Kansas is 26. Like all of those teams, somebody from that grouping most likely is going to be the Big 12 champion, and one of those teams is going to be in the top 4. From a power rating standpoint, I don't project any of those teams to climb that high in the power rating, but in terms of where they're going to be in the CFP picture, those are the teams that stick out to me. If you're looking, outside the top 10, who might be able to make a jump? Michigan's number 12. My model down on Michigan this year. They lost a ton of production from last year's team that, of course, went undefeated and won a national championship. But they're at number 12. They might, if they can piece things together, both with the team and the coaching staff, they might be a team that sneaks up the power ratings here. I'm looking at, let me see if I go down farther down the list. SMU's intriguing at number 27. They're in the ACC now. I'm not suggesting they're going to be, a top 5 or even top 10 power rated team, but they're an interesting team. They're making a transition into the Power 4 conferences. I'm just curious how it's going to go. They have a schedule that sets up pretty nicely for them, and I pull up their team page quickly from a schedule standpoint. It's the 3rd easiest schedule of any Power 4 team. It's number 66 out of 68 in schedule difficulty. So that's a team to watch that might have a really, really good record, even if they're not, a top 5 or 10 power rated team. But those are just some of the teams that catch my eye that are outside the top 10 right now that might make their way up the board, whether that's a power rating or a CFP ranking.
If you are a numbers nerd, you got to go find his website, kfordratings.com. Kelly, I see you have some merchandise
play game until the clock hits zero. So for me, that was something that something I kind of live by when watching college football. It really is not over until it's over because college football is crazy. Anything can happen. So to me, if you're a casual, and of course Josh Tate has made that phrase a very, very popular and very well known in the college football space. If you're a casual, sure, you can leave early, but those of us who truly love college football and know that anything can happen are certainly going to be there until you see triple zeros on the clock in the fourth quarter.
Well, Kelly, I will tell you that I was at the Miracle on the Mountain game, the App State Furman game, where there was a interception in the end zone, pitched back to a faster player, took it back 97 yards for the game-winning score, and I had to leave that game early. I was not there for that final play, and you have no idea how much that hurts my heart.
Oh, it's got to be among the biggest regrets of your life right there. I mean, I don't know you. I don't know everything about you, but holy cow, yeah, that's got to be brutal. And again, and I'm not saying that you didn't say you left on your own accord, but you had to leave for whatever reason. This is why we should do everything we can to be staying at these games, because in the event that something crazy happens and you had the opportunity to be there and you made a conscious decision not to, it's going to stick with you forever, as it does for you here. And man, that hurts my heart just to hear.
Hey, Kelly, last one from me. T-Swizzle on the stream. This has already got the stream fired up. If Clemson takes down Georgia first week, we, says T-Swizzle, we are top four in the country the next week. I'm looking at your rankings. They're 14th in your poll. Going to win over the number one Bulldogs, get them from 13th to 4.
So I'll take it as a two-part question, because are we talking power ratings or resume rankings? If Clemson finds a way to knock off Georgia in week 1, and again, my number right now, 15% chance, so it's not crazy, but it's not likely by my model. If Clemson finds a way to win that game, I'm telling you right now, here on July 9th, 2024, Clemson will be my number one most deserving ranked team going into week 2. There is no question about that. I don't care what anybody else in the country does. Clemson's going to be number one in my most deserving ranking. I'm also telling you that unless Clemson wins that game by about 70 points, Clemson will not find themselves in the top 4 of my power ratings the next week, because right now Clemson has a power rating of 15.9, just about 16. The number 4 team in the country is Texas at 25.1. It is next to impossible, if not impossible, for a team to climb 9 football points per game in my model in 1 week. Now, if Clemson follows that up by absolutely demolishing App State, now we're talking, because clearly the model was miscalibrated on Clemson and needs to be adjusted. But no, Clemson will not be in the top 4 in my power ratings in week 2, even if they beat Georgia. However, they will be number 1, undisputed by a large margin in the most deserving rankings if they knock off Georgia.
No, Kelly, I got to tell you, we were going strong for the longest time, and then you used the words, if Clemson demolishes App State. I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that at all. But you are the absolute best. It's been far too long since we've had you on the station, and it's great to have you on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson for the first time. Thanks for your time.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk again soon.
Appreciate you. That is Kelly Ford at K Ford Ratings on Twitter and on his website. I mean, I'm telling you, if you are a numbers guy, this is where you got to go. There is so much statistical data on his website projecting the odds of a team winning X number of games or more, most deserving. He's got some ratings coming up on his website that we didn't even get a chance to ask him about, so that we definitely will ask him about the next time around, his what-if rankings. There's so much going on that website. You got to go and find it.
You're listening to the underground of sports talk radio, where we're not afraid to get dirty.
It's Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on a Fan of Space.
Chuck Sanders, here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive. In Phoenix, the Braves beat the Diamondbacks 5-4 last night in 11 innings. Atlanta now with wins in 3 straight. They're second in the NL East behind Philadelphia, 7.5 games out of first place. The Braves tied it with 2 runs in the top of the 9th. Sean Murphy hit a 2-run homer. Both teams scored in the 10th. Marcell Ozuna put the Braves ahead for good with a sac fly in the top of the 11th. Braves starter Bryce Elder went 5 innings. He allowed 3 runs on 4 hits with 2 walks and a strikeout. Diamondbacks rookie Gilbert Diaz made his major league debut. 6 innings, 1 run allowed on 4 hits with 5 strikeouts. Tickets for Carolina Panthers training camp are free and available starting today on Ticketmaster. 13 training camp practices will be held at the Panthers practice fields. The first free practice July the 4th at 9:30 a.m. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo, and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash of the Fan Upstate.
From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Weather Center, here's a breaking weather alert on the Fan Upstate. A heat advisory continues until 8 p.m. tonight. A heat advisory means that a combination of high temperatures and high humidity will produce dangerous conditions, especially for those who are sensitive to heat, especially children and the elderly. In order to prevent heat sickness and heat stroke, take steps to keep cool, drink plenty of water, stay in the shade as much as possible, and if you must be outside, take occasional breaks in an air-conditioned building to cool down. Watch out for the warning signs of heat stroke, including dizziness, nausea, headache, and disorientation. A heat advisory continues until 8 p.m. tonight. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Zucci here on the Fan Upstate.
10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not an MVP's Pro Rewards member? Join today. Visit Lowe's.com/Messi for more details.
As school buses return, rest easy. Clorox has got your back to school.
Oh, no. I'm back. That messy science experiment. And I brought baking soda, cornstarch.
And you're due tomorrow, right? Well, at least I stocked up on Clorox disinfecting wipes. Because you're not messing up my kitchen counters like last time.
Ooh, smart. Got any food coloring?
And off to the store we go.
Stock up on Clorox disinfecting wipes that clean 3 times better. And when paper towels and kitchen grease and soaps come, use the directed.
Oh, and gonna take I get that stupid song stuck in my head.
Versus AT&T and Verizon, because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
Jane, I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
Or being a dog person and a cat person.
Who wants a treat? Who's a good boy?
Or like being an extrovert and an introvert.
This is so fun! I can't wait to go home.
At T-Mobile, you don't have to choose. You can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how much you can save with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, when you switch, you can keep your phone and we'll pay it off up to $800.
Be a virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device, credit, service, and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
Tonight, overcast skies with a low of 75.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
Wire to wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson.
Michigan not being talked about in the national. Putting a big fat bow on your Tuesday. It's almost 7 o'clock. We appreciate you hanging with us, the Tolos. That stands for Turn It On, Leave It On. That's what we call you, Tolo. If you're just tuning into the program for the first time, like we had one guy on the stream today, Diesel. Who was it? Mantis. Said, first time tuning in.
Yeah.
First time listener, first time viewer. We appreciate it.
Said he's going to be here tomorrow.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah, we appreciate it, Mantis. Let's get to some Daily Wire. Headlines, basically, is what they are. We get you up to date on what's happening in the sports world. The Braves defeated the Diamondbacks last night, this morning, rather, in 11 innings, 5-4 was the final score. The Braves looked like the Braves of old last night, and boy, did it feel good. I got excited, and I experienced something that I have not experienced all season long.
Joy?
Joy.
There you go. But they can't really get over that 6-run hump. This is a explosive offensive team that I feel like needs to be scoring 7-8 runs a game, especially with the quality or lack thereof that they're getting out of the bullpen. Offensively, they got to be putting up 7 or 8 to win.
But listen, at this point in the season, I'll take it.
Take
if they
anything
win
we can
1-0, I'll take it. If they win 45-0, I'll take it.
I feel like this show is the nexus of whether or not the Braves can win. When we
be.
start talking nice about them, they lose. We start talking ish about them, they come back and win.
It could be. Very well could be. NL East watch. The Phillies and Dodgers begin a 3-game series tonight. That game's already underway. So Braves fans, I know it's tough, but let's put our Dodger blue on for the next 3 nights.
Is it Phillies at Dodgers? Was this 10 a.m. first pitch?
In
West Coast
Philadelphia.
Time? Oh, okay.
In Philadelphia. So they are over here on the East Coast. Braves in action tonight, 9:40. Chris Sale on the mound for the Bravos. They've won 3 straight. Dodgers have put right-handed pitcher Tyler Glasnow back on the 15-day IL with back tightness. There's a little Dodger update for you. The Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback Cameron Sutton has been suspended 8 games without pay for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy, the league announced on Monday. Diesel, I hate to see this, but former college announcer Joe Tessitore has officially joined the WWE announce team.
Oh, God.
I used to like old Joe, but I'll never hear him again. Man, that stinks for us college football fans. He was a really good announcer. Really was.
Now, is he leaving college football to go do this, or is he just adding this onto his duties?
It did not say. Hopefully he's not leaving college football, but he's joining the WWE team. So I don't know. It's a good question. We'll have to do a little investigating to find out. Dak Prescott, he says, hey, this boot that I have on, it's just precautionary. Nothing to look at here. Everything's fine. I don't have an injury. I'm wearing it for fashion. Okay? That's what Dak is saying. I don't know if we believe him or not, but that's what he's saying at least. The Texans NRG Stadium has been damaged. Oh, no, by a Hurricane Barrel. Several panels of the retractable roof are missing, so no more retractable roof for the Texans. Hopefully,
Barrel's like, man. Diesel, we hear your plan for a roof on every stadium, and we rip it off.
Beryl, B-E-R-Y-L. When the hurricane name came around to B, that's what we thought of
was Barry, Benjamin,
Bryson,
Bobby, Blitzen.
Hurricane Blitzen. That'd be a heck of a hurricane name, right?
That's
there.
what people in New Orleans do every time a hurricane comes through. They start blitzing.
That's Roll Tide Willie there. Blitz, Bama Blitz. You know Roll Tide Willie?
I don't.
He's a TikTok sensation. You got to meet him. Jaguars defensive end Josh Allen is no longer Josh Allen. It is Josh Hines Allen, as he is paying tribute to his maternal side of the family.
Oh, that's nice.
How cool is that?
It also eliminates the confusion of which Josh Allen you're talking about.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I didn't think about that.
Now he's Josh Hines Allen.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it should be obvious when you're talking about his position and what he does on the field, but, you know, if you just say, hey, Josh Allen.
Yeah, and his skin color, right?
Well, yeah, that could be a little confusing. He's got a lot of family that are athletes. Like but the maternal side of his family has a really impressive pedigree.
Last but not least. Oh, I'm sorry. Livy Dunn's not last. She's next to last. Livy Dunn announced she will return to LSU for a 5th season.
Nice.
So one more year in college for old Livy. And then finally, last but not least, Arch Manning. What did he do? He made a video. Him and old Uncle Eli said, we've got to go and make a video. How about that?
Arch
Diesel?
Manning's voice is deeper and manlier than Eli's is. Isn't that crazy?
True. It's true. Oh, that was fun. We'll do it again tomorrow. Tolo.